have the Muppets theme song playing in my head. Huh. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. This is Monkey in the Morning. I am Monk, and we are here to laugh at people because that's what I like to do. Hi, guys. Hope you're well. Sorry about last night. I have no good excuse. I just fell asleep. I was watching a Neebs gaming video. He was playing Schedule 1, him and the gang, and it was okay. It's not my favorite Neebs video every way, but ever, but it was good. And I got nostalgic, and I watched one of his old 7 Days to Die ones, and I was laughing my ass off. Those were so much fun. And the next thing I knew, I woke up and was like, "Oh shit, I should probably go to bed." It was great. It was great though. So it did make me miss yesterday's show, and we're here to make up for that today. And we're gonna kick it old school. We're gonna be laughing at some feminists. It's been a while since we've done that. I mean, I guess you can point to a lot of this stuff and blame it all on feminism, but these are like avowed feminists, so it should be fun. I have not watched all of the video. I I wasn't even sure I was going to respond to it. I was wait, why do I have another YouTube? Oh, okay, never mind. I wasn't sure I was going to respond to it because I was like, it's got Andrew Wilson on there, and anybody who watches this show knows how I feel about that dude. He's so fucking annoying. He's so goddamn annoying. And the part that gets me the most about Andrew Wilson is you just know at home his wife rules everything. He goes out there and puts on the macho man thing, but you know, what's her name? Rachel, right? Because she's a public figure-ish kind of thing too. You just know she whips that motherfucker left and right, that he's just a total bitch for her every day. And look, as a man who's a total bitch for his wife, I understand, but I don't try to hide it. Anyway, we're gonna watch this. What made me want to do a response to this and a reaction to it is the first lady who talks. That's how far I made it. Pierce has his opening, and then he goes to his first guest, and she starts out fine, and then she just turns to straight stupid. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be worth it. So we're gonna jump in here. Jack does have the link. Hopefully he wakes up. I'm assuming he's asleep right now. Hopefully he wakes up soon. That guy from the Whatever podcast. Yeah, Andrew Wilson is he's been around for a little while, but he ingratiated himself to the Whatever guys, and they have him on all the time to make fun of bimbos and dingbats, which is about the level he can handle. But here we go. We're going to jump right in. You'll see we're already 29 seconds in. That's because Piers does a little coming up kind of section, and we just skipped that.
John Oliver stirred controversy this week by hosting a special on what he calls a right-wing obsession with trans athletes in women's sport. He took aim at Fox News for this.
Even as the market crashed in the wake of Trump's tariffs, Fox News spent a lot of time on this.
A women's fencer is defending her decision to take a knee to protest her trans opponent, despite getting disqualified for her forfeit.
A female fencer who's devoted years of her life to the sport was just disqualified.
This is the civil.
Now we haven't talked about this story. This happened last week sometime. I saw when it happened, and good for this girl. This chick was like, I am not fencing a dude. This is women's fencing. And frankly, it should have been a much bigger story, but you know.
Rights issue of the hour, women's sports.
Here's a story that everybody's going to be interested in. A female fencer stands up for fairness in women's sports.
Wait, that's the story that everyone is going to be interested in? Are you sure about that? The story about fencing, and not the one that's caused the stock ticket in the corner of your screen? To go bright.
It's possible for people to talk about more than one thing. He said it was a story everyone was going to be interested in. And you took it to a story about fencing. It's not a story about fencing. It's a story about men competing against women in sports. This is how the left does it a lot and he's making jokes, and Oliver can be funny. And if you ignore the stupid part of this, that is kind of ridiculous that we're concentrating on fencing when the stock market dropped 1,400 points. Oh my God. By the way, don't worry about the stock market. It'll be fine. But this is what it's part of the lie. It's part of the lie. Hey, it's just a story about fencing. No, it's not. That's not what that story is about. It's a story about men beating women. Do you remember when liberals didn't like when men beat women? I mean, at least publicly.
Bright red like an inflamed hemorrhoid?
What is almost comically
Like an inflamed hemorrhoid kind of sums up John Oliver's whole show, really.
ironic, of course, is that Mr. Oliver was himself dedicating a large chunk of his once-a-week show to talking about the same issue.
Yeah, it's kind of the downside of pointing out what the press is talking about, right? Because it makes you end up talking about it. But you don't have to make it your whole show. Oliver hasn't been funny since, what does that say? Brexit? I don't necessarily find what he's joking about funny, but the man can deliver a joke and he's good at it. I will never take that away from a funny man. I feel the same way about Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart can deliver a joke, even when it's a joke that I disagree with or that I find, because I know the real stuff going on that his audience is too dumb to know, find it not funny in those grounds. He sells a joke very well.
Well, J.K. Rowling told him to read The Effing Room and shared a post which slammed his 45-minute special for claiming there's basically no advantage for male athletes and that men almost never beat women. On that same,
I haven't seen the John Oliver show, but now I'm going to have to watch it. Did anybody see it? Did he really suggest that the men almost never win? This is one of the talking points that they use, and there is a little validity to it, but there's a reason for it. It depends on what level of the sport you're talking about, and it also depends on the level of the athletes involved. If all else is equal, men will beat women, period. But if you're talking about the best of the best women against say, I don't know, swimmer who was 148 or whatever he was when he was a male, yeah, there's going to be women who can beat him, but it's going to be the best of them. But men beat women all the time in sports. Do you remember the Connecticut track race? The one where the woman who used to be a guy won by like half a track? Where are these people? Okay, let's say, for argument's sake, that the men only ever come in second, third, or even fifth, right? That's still knocking a woman, an actual woman or girl, out of that fifth spot. That's still a man taking a woman's place. And this isn't like a woman's place is in the home. No. Her actual earned place as a woman in that sport. And all of these people who are defending this shit, they're such fucking assholes. These are the same people who tell me, Donald Trump hates women. You're the one who want men to be able to be women. You have literally no respect for them. We haven't even got to the start of this. I'm already ranting. Fuck.
night, the UK Women's Pool Championship final was contested by two people who were born as men, not women. So who is obsessed and who is right? Well, we'll debate that, and we'll debate this too.
A lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right that like to think of themselves as these big masculine men, and what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe I'm a woman of virtue,
coming
right?
out.
Yeah.
We watched a little part of that the other day when this one happened. I found myself watching way too much Piers Morgan lately, and unfortunately, Andrew Wilson is on there far more than I'm comfortable with. Why do they always keep... Piers, I promise you, there's smarter people out there to make the points that need made. He has stopped inviting Pearl on, which I kind of wish that Andrew and Pearl would have got together on one of the Piers Morgan shows. But there's smarter people out there. I promise you, Piers. I can't get through Piers Morgan. I understand that, Eagle, but I do like his show. He has some good guests on sometimes.
There's the feminism. Oh,
I'm sorry. Did you want to speak over a man?
Yeah, I don't...
Inside of society, right this second, right?
No,
Masculinity.
see, I hate that he cut that off right there. I've said many times, Andrew Wilson is basically a woman, and I mean that sincerely. And what he did right there is he pulls a Kamala Harris. He actually pulls a Kamala Harris and accuses Tommy Lauren of speaking over him when he cut in on her. She's in the middle of speaking, and his bitch ass starts talking, and she's like, I'm trying to finish what I'm saying here. And you're like, oh, are you just going to speak over me? You're just going to speak. He literally pulled a fucking Kamala Harris. I'm like, really? And you're what so many people are pointing to, like, look, this is one of those manly men. He's such a little bitch. He's such a little girl.
Is not only punished, but also women on the right, covert feminists on the right, are constantly and consistently talking about how they need to have privilege in society.
And he's right about that. I hate that he's right about some stuff too. Oh.
Version of masculinity is men who take care of us, men who protect us, men who do all of this. Those are all duties
like you do
that
with
men
your wife.
have towards women. Great. What are the duties that women have towards men?
Well, that became a breakout moment from our adolescent.
Yeah, I remember this part of that argument. What duties do women have towards men? Well, why don't you lay it out, Andrew? What do you think those duties should be? Making your bed, cooking for you, wiping your butt like your mom used to do. I'm not looking for a mommy. I don't need my wife to do that stuff. My wife helps, she takes care of the house. She took care of the kids. He said duty. Yeah. I want to know, and I'm sure he's articulated it before, but in this moment he just yells out, what are women's duties? Which wasn't even part of the conversation. Because he's such a woman, he can't argue on topic. I'd like to know what he thinks women should do. Because I do believe that a man's job is to protect his family, which includes his wife. It starts with his wife. And then when they have children, that is your job, to provide and protect your family. And what is a woman's job? This is a whole notion that came up because of the manosphere, the red pillars in there. Women don't do nothing for us. Well, what is it you want them to do? Be baby factories? Because just be honest about what you want. I have no problem if you have that opinion. I'm probably going to disagree with you in parts of it, but I've been married for 40 years now. It's not a partnership. Me and Lady Monkey had an interesting conversation maybe 2 weeks ago now. And I don't even remember how we got on the topic. But she told me that if somebody's working out of the house, right? One of the spouses works outside of the house and the other one works inside. They have no job. That during the day or during the work hours that the person works outside of the home, that the home has to be managed by the person that's in it. So let's just do the traditional roles, right? If a man is working outside of the house, while he's outside of the house, she's responsible for taking care of stuff, getting chores and stuff done. But the minute he gets off work and gets home, now it's a shared responsibility. I was like, okay. Who makes sure that she's working all day? Or if it's a he that stays home, who makes sure that the partner staying home is actually working all day and not dragging their feet because they know at 4 o'clock they're getting some relief? I know a lot of people, a lot of ladies like to pretend that housework is like a 24/7 job. It's really not. It doesn't take that long to clean the house if you keep it clean. It doesn't take that long to do dishes. It doesn't take that long to fold laundry. And a lot of time you can do that while you're doing other stuff too. You don't get that luxury when you go out there and you're, say, working in the hot sun, putting a new roof on somebody's house. You know what I mean? And it struck me funny that this has become the societal agreement, is that you have to go out there and work really hard because you have a boss and you got to go make that money to pay for everything. And then when you get home, you have to do half of my job too. Like, I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't think that it's a 50-50 split when everybody gets home. Not unless you can show me that the 8 hours I was working hard and had a boss riding my ass, making sure I didn't get to sit down for a minute. I got a couple of 15-minute breaks and a lunch, but I had to work that whole time. Unless you can show me you were doing that same thing, I don't think we have a fairness issue here. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. I was quite baffled by her take, and she did not understand my take on it. Maybe it's just a man woman thing. We'll never see eye to eye on that. But yeah, anyway.
Adolescence debate and Andrew Wilson's chilling warning, of course, about the dangers of covert feminism. Well, we have a panel of feminists, covert and otherwise, to debate. The co-founder of Justice for Women and author of Lesbian, Where Are We Now?
As I said when we watched this the other day, Andrew Wilson is absolutely right, and I've mentioned this many times too. Even the conservative women out there have been so brainwashed by feminism that it leaks in. The most conservative woman will have a fucking feminist take, and you're like, I thought you were smarter than this. And it's always on something, no, it's men or me. I had a conversation with somebody, I'm not saying who, about the whole who would you rather be in the woods with, a bear or a man? And I'm like, yeah, that's fucking retarded to say you'd rather be in the woods with a bear. And they said to me, doesn't it say something, though, that women are saying that they would rather be there with a bear than a man? I'm like, yeah, it says they're retarded. It says they're fucking stupid. Because you know why? Men don't have claws on their fingers to look like Freddy fucking Krueger. And they're not going to eat your guts out because you fell asleep while having your period in the woods. Yes, chances are you're not going to get attacked by a bear. But chances are you're not going to get attacked by a man either. This is some feminist bullshit that they've been like, women are so proud, men beat them up all the time. Do you know who gets attacked most? Men. It's not women. It's men. We get assaulted way more than women do. And the perception, though, is that the women, they're so put upon. Another person, women shouldn't have to defend themselves. They shouldn't have to look over their shoulder. That was a conversation that we've seen online before, and I had in real life. I'm like, you do understand that men have to do that too, right? You are far more likely to be attacked as a man than you are as a woman. But they've scared the shit out of women to the point they're like, I'd rather be out there with a bear. Like, yeah, that's retarded. Doesn't that say something? Yeah, nothing good. Nothing good about women. Anyway, sorry.
Now, Julie Bindel, the trans rights advocate, Stacia Underwood, the sports journalist and political commentator.
I'm sorry. Was the trans right activist named Underwood? There's a joke in there somewhere.
Emily Austin, and the host of The Crucible, Andrew Wilson. Well, welcome to all of you. Julie Bindel, let me start with you with this whole issue of trans athletes in women's sport. I've been talking about this as you have.
This is the part that made me do this. I'm going to do my best to let her actually answer, but you know me, it's not going to work. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. The whole man versus bear thing was a prime example of proximity bias. Proves women don't understand what a wild bear is really like. Yeah, I mean, do you remember when we went over the poll of men and women and what kind of animals they thought they could kill with their bare hands? And there were even some women like, I could take down an elephant. Like, I could take down a medium dog. Like, you ever seen what a German Shepherd does to a guy fleeing from the police? But yeah, your tiny little 110-pound ass is going to kill it. Good luck.
Have for many years, and we've reached a point where the
exactly, Evolved. Just an entire group of totally unlikable people. For the record, I don't hate Piers Morgan. I think he's had some really bad takes over the years, and he's had some really good takes over the years. It's one of the reasons I do like him, because I don't always agree, but I don't always disagree either. It's the people that I always disagree with that I can't take at all. So I stopped following the Krasensteins and so many other people. I'll tell you, how can you never get anything right? How can you never get anything right? Which I'm sure they think about me because they're retarded, but you know what I mean. Emily is awesome. Piers is okay. Is Emily the blonde? I've seen her before, but I couldn't tell you why or where. But her face is very familiar. God Rady, thank you so much. Underwood, I thought her name was Cutwood. It's Woodtuck. How much wood would a woodtuck tuck if a woodtuck could tuck wood?
Current president of the United States has basically announced a total ban on any trans athletes competing in women's sport, including at the upcoming global events happening in the United States, which is great. But it seems to me utterly astonishing that we have John Oliver, who's a fellow Brit, who is on American television and for 45 minutes seriously trying to argue that people who are born biological males have no advantage over biological females when it comes to sport.
Okay. I was trying to let him finish that sentence. God damn, you talk really slow, Piers. It's not mind-blowing that John Oliver would be doing that. It's more mind-blowing that people are pushing against it now. Because for so long, this has been the accepted media narrative that if a person feels like they're a woman, even though they have a penis, they are a woman, and that's okay because especially when it comes to sports, there is no biological advantage. And this goes back to even further in feminism when they tried convincing us that men and women are equal. Instead of paying attention to being equal under the law, which is right, they tried convincing everybody, no, men and women, exactly the same. There's nothing a man can do that a woman can't do. Okay, get prostate cancer. Maybe that's not a good example, but we have biological differences. And this is a feminist talking point that has just been morphed into the trans talking point of there's no difference between the sexes. I would be more surprised if John Oliver didn't come out and say that there's no advantage, because this has been nonsense that's been preached at us for the last 30 fucking years, at least. I know men and women are exactly the same. No, we're not. We're not. And no, that doesn't mean that you can't find some skinny little bitch of a man who could get beat up by a big old Bertha bitch. It just means that if we're talking generally, or even if you want to get that specific, the strongest man in the world would kick the ever-loving shit out of the strongest woman in the world in any physical competition. Because men are bigger than women and we have bigger muscles and stronger bones. Fuck. Oh, anyway, sorry.
How can this still be happening?
Because it's ingrained propaganda, Piers. You're a journalist. You know how this shit works. Stop it.
It's utterly ludicrous.
It is.
Either we have women's sports or we don't. Either we recognise that sports are segregated for good reason or we don't, and we put...
And see, she's making sense right here. Either we recognize that sports are separated for good reason. I was like, wait a minute. This feminist bitch is going to be smart.
Everybody in together and then see what happens, which is like the bad old days when girls and women wouldn't come forward to compete or they wouldn't join tournaments. Even if you look at something like poker, which Oliver was joking about, how can this be an issue? How can poker even be discriminatory? There's no strength involved. But the sexist environment of poker tournaments and what men would call jokes.
Yeah. The poker tournaments have to be segregated because of the sexist nature of men. Ah, fuck. All right. Let's say that's true. Couldn't you make your own tournaments and then it should turn out the same way? And then you could just have the man and the woman face each other and see who's better because there's no physical skill there. Some of y'all women aren't going to like this, but poker is dominated by men for two reasons. One, we're better at math, and card games are math. It's all about math. And two, we're more competitive than you are. You're competitive with other women. You want to go out there and preen and get the attention more than the fat chick in the middle there. That's where your competitive nature comes in. We like competition. We will make competitions out of fucking everything if we can. We'll turn anything into a game to be better than our friends at something. It wasn't that it's sexist. And what the problem with poker like that, like she's talking about, is that yes, because there's more men there, it's going to be a place where men are more comfortable. And if you bring in a woman and she's like, oh my God, they're acting like men. And we've seen this every time they introduce women into shit. Suddenly the men got to stop acting like men because women are around now. And they're like, no, this is how you always should have acted. If I want to tell dick jokes with my friends and they don't have a problem with it and nobody else is hearing it and we're at work, I don't see a problem there. But as soon as you get let a woman in there, like, oh, he's telling dick jokes. Like, yeah, I was doing it yesterday before you got hired. The company was working fine. Now we got an HR department and I got a lawsuit. This is why men and women shouldn't do anything together. We shouldn't be together. We should hook up to make babies, say bye, and somehow raise the kid together. I don't know. But when it comes to like working or hobbies or any of this shit, no, we should just have them separate because men and women aren't the same. And if a woman wants to come in and engage in the male area, or if a guy wants to go into the chick area and act like a bitch, cool. But when you go into that other group space, when in Rome, motherfucker, when in Rome, the saying isn't, excuse me, the saying isn't when in Rome, call the HR department. It's when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But this is the kind of shit that we've seen with like the gaming industry is the most recent example of this, where, oh my God, this BioWare, Blizzard, all of these companies, like, it's such a boys club and they grab ass and they tell bad jokes and they make sexist comments. Yeah, they were doing that before the woman got there. It's you women sticking your fucking noses in it. And then you're like, you shouldn't act like this at work. Well, you shouldn't be working here then. Go away. You can't take some. I'm not talking about like actual physical contact or direct harassment. The stuff that all of us would go, dude. But if somebody's telling a fucking dick joke or talking about how he likes some boobies, who cares? The women care. And that's why we shouldn't work together. What they should do at these gaming companies is be like, okay, you women can still work here. But we have this tiny little office off to, we'll even give them, you can have the bigger office. You guys get to go work over there. You're not to speak to the men directly. Because it's not going to go well. You've proven you can't work with us. So you get your own little space over there. You can get some potpourri and shit and make it smell nice. And over here, we're going to have fun. We're going to do what we've always been doing. And you guys can go sit over there and nag each other and leave us the fuck alone. Where the hell did I even come up with that rant? Oh, because of her and her sexist poker. Fuck off.
Joking and teasing and the like put many women off competing. And so let's just see what happens if we...
Okay. How many of you in the audience or who might listen to this play poker with friends and family? Any of you? How many of you have ever had the girls in your life be like, hey, you guys want to sit down and just play some poker? It's not really a woman thing. And that's not to say no women do it, but generally speaking, it's mostly a dude thing. You don't have women organizing poker nights with the girls. Do they still have Tupperware parties? I don't even know what they do anymore. Other than bitch at men. We do dominoes. Dominoes is another one, man. Shooting dice, poker, anything that's competitive like that. It's mostly male dominated, and it's not because women aren't allowed, because women could have their own private little parties and do it the way that men do. Like, how many softball teams are, I'm not talking about, professional softball, as jokey as that is, but like when there's a softball tournament kind of thing going on, how much of that is organized by women? How many of those teams have like forced female integration because they need to get women playing too for some fucking reason? It's always dudes because we like to compete. We like to compete. That's fun for us. We need to show that we're better than that's. It's how we show who the alpha male is. It's whoever's the best at the sport or the game or the activity. Women will never get it because you're not us. You're not us. Just recognize it. It's just like we will never understand so much about you. We understand that you're that way. We don't understand why. And we just accept it because we know we can't change you. And you guys are like, we can fix him. We're not broken.
We then decide that there should be no single-sex sports and that women's sports were ridiculous to start with, because that's what he's arguing.
Yeah.
And that's what we should do. Let's cut all the shit, right? No forced integration. You cannot have any quotas for women. And from now on, I'm not broken, I'm just bent. From now on, all sporting events are based on merit alone. The best player gets the spot. We have one, we get rid of girls and boys basketball, baseball versus softball, volleyball, even football, fuck it, everything. We just have one. Think of this, the savings for the schools, just one. Best player gets it. How many of those positions do you think will be taken by girls? How many of those positions do you think will be taken by women? There is a very good reason that we separated the sports based on sex. And it's because girls can't compete physically with boys, especially after puberty. There's the only times that you're going to see, and even then, I don't know. I was going to say something like gymnastics, something where you have to be more fluid moving, maybe. Female gymnastics has a much bigger following than male gymnastics. But have you ever watched the male gymnasts? Those fuckers are incredibly strong. Those female gymnasts do amazing stuff, but do you think any of them can do an iron cross? Do y'all know what the iron cross is on the rings? That shit looks like torture. That looks like some shit they do to people to try to find out where a bomb has been hidden. So even then, when it comes to the strength part of it, the guys are much, much stronger. They're just not as fun to watch. All right. Anyway.
Stasia, look, as I've repeatedly made clear about my own position, which often gets completely misconstrued, as I think does Julie's, as I think does J.K. Rowling and everybody else. You know, my position is that I absolutely respect people who are trans. I respect people.
I don't absolutely respect any group of people. Black, white, male, female, trans, normal. I don't respect any group. I respect individuals because that's what you should respect. Why do you? I guess maybe the military, but even then, that's because they join up and do something. And if there's people doing bad, I don't defend it just because they're military. You know what I mean? You should respect individuals, not groups. What the fuck kind of bullshit thinking is that? Hey, Jack, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, that's bad. How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm actually pretty good today. Thanks for asking.
Oh, you sound good.
I've gotten a lot of. I told the audience earlier, we didn't do a show last night because I fell asleep in my chair, and when I woke up, I just crawled into bed.
Yeah, I've done that. Like, well, my nap's over. Time to go to bed. I'm all tired from napping.
Yeah, so I got some really good sleep, and that's been helping. I've gotten good sleep 2 out of the last 3 days.
For me, that's sacrilege, but I get it. Some people are into that.
Well, you got to hear me offline. You know how bad it was there, and oh god, I'm so happy dude. That's over.
that was rough.
All right, we are watching some feminists up here. They're having a talk right now about trans people in sports because John Oliver did a whole 45-minute segment, which basically boils down to boys and girls don't really have much of a physical difference, and boys don't win when they compete against girls anyway.
I failed biology 101. Got it.
Yes. And life. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Hey, all All of you liberals out there who tell me there's no difference between men and women, how come you're not banging the same sex? I know some of you are, but the rest of you, how come you're not? There's no difference, right?
What's your excuse, bigot?
Yeah.
Ugh.
John Oliver, why ain't you sucking a dick?
Yeah, why aren't you taking that feminine peen?
Stop being a racist.
And transphobe.
Iron Cross is amazing. Dude, I have so much respect for those guys, for the power of those guys. You ever try to do the Iron Cross? Jack, we were talking gymnastics just a little bit ago.
Oh.
You know what the Iron Cross is, right?
Nope.
It's on the ring event where the guys are spinning around and they just hold themselves up with their arms straight out at their side.
Oh, yeah. No fucking way. No.
Yeah.
I don't have the upper body strength for that. The guys that do, I'm like, were you in a wheelchair before this? 'Cause how did you get that kind of, like, the stability it takes to do that? Because if you fuck that up, you're going to hurt yourself and probably fall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That shit is absolutely amazing. It's the only event that I really like watching men's gymnastics is the rings, and it's mostly for that. The rings is such a show of strength.
Yeah.
Strength
absolutely.
and control. All right. We just had this fat, chunky feminist, and now we're about to get the trans rights activist, I think. And then Andrew will be a dick later. So, Jack, I haven't watched any of this. I did see at the beginning that there was a tussle between Andrew and the two fat ones here.
Shocker.
The name of this is Put Down the Duncan for a Second. That is in reference to something Andrew says to one of them, and he's not talking about basketball.
Oh, my vote is for the middle one.
I'm waiting for a donation to load before we get started here. There we go. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Well, women's gymnastics and men's gymnastics are two completely different things. Yeah, don't they? They both vault. Everything else they do differently, right? Because the girls have the uneven parallel bars, the floor. I'm missing one here. Oh, the balance beam, where the guys have the pommel horse, the even parallel bars, the rings, and I'm sure there's something else.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
They prance across the floor with the little string.
That is rhythmic gymnastics.
Whatever. It's like dressage for humans.
Anyway, goes on to say, like, actually, the men can't do the women's stuff and the women can't do the men's stuff because male and female bodies just don't move the same. Yeah, and
oh, you monster!
I'm fairly certain the vault is the only one they have in common.
Yeah, the rest is biological heresy.
And I do love gymnastics. I think that the stuff those people do is fucking amazing, and it's one of those things where it's like, if I tried any of that, I would actually be in a wheelchair.
Right? I dated a former water polo player who had been in gymnastics in high school. And she would fuck around and do stuff occasionally. I was like, wow, that is painful looking. No, thank you.
Little Bud has really gotten into gymnastics, and I see her now more flipping over than I do see her right side up. And I watch in amazement.
Well, she just has to yell parkour and everything's cool.
Yes. Thank you, the logical male. I just want to say that feminism is a culture to where gender roles must be switched, women more masculine and men more feminine vis-a-vis Mr. MC. Oh, Mr. McBride. Okay. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. All right. Am I the only one who thinks the chick in the middle looks like she's in a movie wearing a fat suit?
No, I expect that's actually Martin under there.
Yeah, there you go.
Up in here.
It does have that the fat suit look.
A lot of fat people do, because it's an abnormal type of fat. Like, some people, you can tell they're always were gonna be fat. She doesn't have that look. She has that, like, Hollywood fat suit look.
Yeah, she looks like she ate something bad or got stung by a bee.
Yeah, it's almost like a medical emergency kind of fat.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't swollen like that, she would look like Marlon Wayans from White Chicks.
Yes. The chick beside her is clearly overweight, but she's not, especially in the face. She doesn't wear it the same, and it just looks weird on the chick in the middle. Anyway,
the one
sorry.
between her and Piers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's older, and older women get kind of chubby because they tend to be less active. She was probably a little overweight before, and now she's like, her metabolism's slowing. So she's got like old lady fat, and it looks a little more natural, as opposed to the middle, which looks like she hits Golden Corral on a regular basis. And like, will fight a kid for that last nugget.
That chick in the middle looks like she pissed off a witch disguised as a fat chick.
Oh, yes. Instead of thinner, it was fatter.
She woke up the next day chunky. Look, I'm fat, but my fat looks normal. It's disturbing.
Yeah, I'm just a normal fat dude. I saw a guy that was about the same weight as me, because I'm pretty fat.
Mm-hmm.
But he had like that beer fat. You know what I mean? Like his belly stuck way out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He had that beer gut fat. And that is very distinctive looking. Like, there's being a fat guy, and then there's being like, I drink a lot.
They've done studies. That's also the most dangerous way to be fat as a man.
That's what I thought.
When it's all in your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It tends to lead to more heart attacks, or at least the last study I saw on it.
Well, I'm not surprised because, like, I have a gut, right? Because I'm fat.
Sure. Oh, yeah, we're fat.
But he's got that, like, hang over the belt.
Yep.
Like, I know a couple of friends of mine that have this, and they're all, like, either drinkers or smokers or incredibly lazy. But they have this, like, unnatural-looking fat on their front. And I'm like, man, your back has got to be killing you because, you know, we're all in their 40s and 50s. So, but I don't get that because it looks so unnatural with the beer belly.
Yeah, my brother who doesn't drink, that's how he got all of his fat. It looked like he was having a really bad pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
But he lost it all. He's slimmed right down, and I'm happy because he's only a year younger than me, and that shit is dangerous for your heart.
Yeah. I've been trying to eat better, but this chick in the middle looks like she's got body by Frito-Lay.
Thank you, Comrade Kitty. Middle chick is Shallow Hal, and that fat chick if they had a kid. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad you brought up Shallow Hal because that's one of them. If you watch that, fat suits in Hollywood, they don't actually look like fat people.
No, they look creepy, like Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, they look like somebody put on a fat suit. The only one that I've seen that looked convincing is there's an episode of House where the guy who plays Wilson plays a fat guy.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and they did a good job with that, but they covered him so completely that the only thing that's really him is his eyes, nose, and mouth. Even his entire cheeks have been recovered.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about fat people per se.
That's just a bonus of the job.
Let's let the fat people talk.
Who are trans' rights to fairness and equality and safety. I want trans people to have the same fairness, equality and safety that I enjoy, or that my daughter enjoys, for example. So let's be clear about that. Nothing that I'm about to say is what some people try and frame it as transphobic, right? I'm not.
I'm so tired of it, all of us having to qualify everything we fucking say.
Well, we're not allowed to actually speak without qualifiers because then we'll be canceled.
It's like we all have to start our opinions now with some version of I have a black friend.
Yeah, you have to do your self-indulgent flogging before you can actually speak. You might as well do a land acknowledgement while you're at it. You know?
Thank you. Fuck you, man. I was that hit my brain half a second after it should have. Dangerous, thank you. Why do they treat males against female domestic violence different to female against male domestic violence if there is no physical difference? Also, you like to look at the men's rings? Interesting. Not their buttholes, man.
They're like trees.
I've stopped giving qualifier. I'm trying to break myself of it. I really am.
It's hard because we have to do it a lot for YouTube.
You have to do it just for general society now, because if you don't make sure you say you hate Putin, then you must love Russia, right?
Yep.
If you don't say, hey, I don't hate all Jewish people, but this one Jew is a bad person, then damn it, you must hate all Jews, even though I am one apparently.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so easy just to label someone and that they think that's an argument. Well,
Yeah.
you're just an anti-Semite. Oh, you're just a Jew lover. You're just a Putin lover. Because then that's their idea of winning. It's really intellectually lazy and baby brained.
Sorry, I had to blow my nose.
That's okay. You probably expected I was going to say more, but I was like, no, I'm done.
No, I knew you were coming to the end, and I'm like, I can either blow my nose and hope he talks more, or we can just have a moment of silence for the fat people. All right, here we go.
Not remotely transphobic. I am fully supportive of trans people's rights to lead the same life as the rest of us. However, and it's a big however, when it erodes, when the battle for trans rights to fairness, equality in particular, but also safety, when that erodes clearly women's rights to fairness and equality and safety, I have a big problem with that. And no.
Me too. Dangerous. I don't remember if I said thank you for that donation. I read it, but I don't remember. Thank you for the donation. I feel this way about a lot of topics. Like, if you want to live your life, just go live your life. Fat people, since we were talking about them a minute ago, same thing. If you're fat, I don't care. I really don't. It's not good for you. And I don't have a problem with fat people in general. I have a problem with fat activists. I have a problem with the ones who are telling people that, no, it's perfectly healthy to be 400 pounds.
Yeah, I have a problem with fat activists or fativists.
Yeah.
Because I might be in an earthquake zone someday and they might roll on me like a bowling ball. But it's always like the bitter, angry fat people that are activists. Most fat people are pretty reasonable, normal people. But there's always the activists. It's like, oh no, I'm not in the wrong. My body's fine. I'm perfectly healthy. It's the rest of you that are just bigots. That's so tiresome.
EFAP has nothing on Monkey. You have no idea how twice now I've let this play longer than I wanted to, because Piers Morgan takes forever to say what he's going to say.
He's terrible at this.
I'm just sitting here with my mouse or my finger on the mouse going, I need to click it. I need to click it. All right.
No place is this more glaring than in the sporting arena, where you see time and again now biological men who identify as trans, who were pretty unsuccessful competing against other biological men, and suddenly.
Okay, Piers, you're being way too kind there. They are, ridiculously unsuccessful against other men. It's never been like the number one swimmer in college decided he was a chick and went to go swim against the girls. It's always somebody who's like 458 in the world.
Yeah.
They're winning against women or taking Olympic places from women, etc., etc. And I think,
for the record, I really don't care about, oh, you got the Olympic medal. She deserved it, and just in the sake of fairness, I'm way more concerned with like the college and especially high school grades. Because in the high school grades, you're not just taking a trophy away from these girls, you're taking a possible scholarship away from them. Oh, they're not getting anything. Yes, they are. They absolutely are. Thank you, Dangerous. That poker talk reminded me of, oh, I see. So you were lying about what? About how good your cards were. I was bluffing. Haha. And what is bluffing? Is it not another word for lying? That's from Friends when they play poker in season 1, I believe. Anyway.
Oh.
Thank you, Dangerous.
the UN came up with nearly 900. I mean, John Oliver tried to ridicule this, but nearly 900 medals around the world, I think, in the last year went to trans athletes in women's sport. This cannot be right. It's not fair. it's not equal. As we saw in the Paris Olympics, in the boxing ring, where you had boxers competing who were banned from the World Championships because they had reportedly male chromosomes.
Go ahead.
I kind of have to disagree with what you said a second ago.
What's that?
It's not just medals. A lot of these competitions have cash prizes and sponsorship deals. So these trans people that are coming in and taking the medals away from the girls, they're also getting the sponsorships and the cash prizes that go with the medals.
No, you're not wrong about that. Yeah.
Plus, no woman wants to be, the first loser.
Well, that's true too. I guess for me, especially when you come to the Olympic athletes, most of these people are not going on to like professional curling or professional skeet shooting or any of that shit.
Yeah. But look at the gymnasts.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of them got TV appearances and like Frosted Flakes or Wheaties boxes. They get money for that. So nobody wants to look at Leah Thompson's hard on while they're eating their Wheaties, but I'm sure there's some Nike sponsorships out there.
And James, yeah, that's where it is for me too. Yeah, cash prize is nice, but when you're talking about scholarships, you're talking about setting people up for their life. I mean, you get a full ride scholarship on your athletic ability. That is a even if you go into HR degree, whatever kind of bullshit degree you get to go into HR, you're coming out of college without that massive debt.
Yeah, but a lot of the Olympians, they don't go to college.
That's why
professional athletes.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. That's why I said the especially like the high school level sports when some boy goes in there and takes the girls' spots.
I think that's the most egregious, but
Yes.
I have a problem with all of it.
Oh, me too.
They are ripping off these people that worked their entire lives for this, and they just wander in and take it.
If I'm being completely honest, the start of it for me is just how unfair it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Sports is already hard enough with just the naturally gifted people among us.
Yeah.
And now you have to compete as a woman, not just against the naturally gifted women, but against dudes. That's so fucking unfair.
Yeah. Especially with their tiny girl brains, it makes it hard to process everything.
Hi, Nuts. How you doing, sweetie? Are you still banned?
Hi, Stargazer.
All right.
And you had women boxers quitting after 40 seconds because they'd never been hit so hard, genuinely fearing they might get killed in the ring. When it comes to this, we are now...
I'm a crippled man, and I'll make any woman in the audience a deal if you believe that men and women are the same. I will let you punch me as hard as you can, and then I get to do it to you. Anybody want to take me up on that? I'm an almost 50-year-old cripple. Any ladies want to go?
Now reaching...
This started over John Oliver, who looks like he'd fall over in a windstorm. I would still rather be hit by a woman than by that little twink.
Yeah, because the average woman versus the average man.
Yep. I would never punch you. I appreciate that. Can I use my frying pan? That's cheating, Nuts. All right, I'll make you a deal. You can use a frying pan, but I get to use it too. I'm trying to have us equal, Jack. How about this? John Oliver, he's married, right?
I don't know. That's terrifying to think about.
John doesn't believe that men and women have any real difference. So how about some female in his life? And I get to pick a male in my life, and we'll put the two of them together to fight it out to the death.
Ooh, choose your champion.
Choose your champion. The only thing that would save that woman is a man going, I don't want to kill her.
Yeah.
I don't know why we have to lie about this. Anyway. Who do you think that's to protect? Honestly, Jack, because I pointed out earlier, this comes from the feminist idea that men and women are the same, and trans people have just grabbed it. So is it to help the trans people, or is it to lie to women to make women feel like they're equal to men?
Why not both?
Because it can't be both.
Oh,
because remember,
sure it can.
I guess.
It seems contradictory, but these are people that don't make a lot of sense because they pick and choose what to believe in the moment. So you can have competing ideologies functioning at the same time. You don't have to like it. It's just the reality is these are not healthy, normal people most of the time. Most of these activist types, there's something wrong with them.
Lisa says, so we're responsible for this mess. Women are responsible for this mess, yes. Because all of this stems from feminism. It absolutely does, which is just an offshoot of communism. So, and specifically third wave feminists. Look, first wave feminists kind of had a point. Second wave feminists had a little less of a point, but they had some good ideas there.
There was a grain of salt there, you know.
Yeah. And then third wave feminism came along and said, we're just going to be retarded. And the whole world went, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. And this will continue until women stand up. And some of them are. We are seeing more athletic women saying no to this shit.
Because Joseph just pointed out something I've said many times. Women pushed it, men tolerate it. It's women's fault, but men let it happen. Men need to stand up and be like, no, I don't care if you say I'm never going to get pussy anymore. This is wrong. You're being stupid. Stop it. The same you would do with your male friends when they said something really retarded.
Yeah. Well, that's why we got to be able to preserve the right to call people retarded.
To me, not just an unfair and unequal place in this debate, but a dangerous place in this debate. What do you say to that?
When you get into pugilistic sports, that means fighting, y'all, with your hands. When you get into stuff like that, MMA and boxing, you are putting women in danger. People die in the ring. And you are letting somebody in there who has a natural advantage that women cannot make up for. Bone density. Bone density matters when you're punching somebody. If you don't believe me that bone density matters, take a wiffle ball bat and hit somebody with it. And then take a Louisville Slugger and do the same thing. See if the damage is equal.
She got distracted by a cheeseburger. Look at her face. She's thinking of a cheeseburger right now.
There was a stray Cheeto that came rolling across her desk. How much is said in that empty space right there? He's like, hey, this is dangerous for women. What say you?
She's like, oh, look, trans people are more oppressed than women, so I'm siding with them.
And you can tell she was nervous because she immediately licked her lips. That's how she deals with her nervousness in life.
Cheeseburger.
I'm hungry
Licked her
now.
lips with that cheeseburger, yeah. It's like fighting, that makes me hungry. I want a cheeseburger.
Joseph says, listen to the crap she says. Okay. I will do my best not to. Well, I'm going to interrupt, but.
Wait, is is the one in the middle a trans person?
I honest to God don't know. I know they're a trans activist, so probably.
Well, you know, with really fat people, sometimes you can't tell what they're got going on.
It's difficult. I think that there's a lot of emphasis being put on trans people in sports specifically. I made it very clear, like, I am not here to spit facts or spew anything in terms of like statistics or anything like that. I have my lived experience as a trans person.
Oh, yeah. So it's a dude. Okay. You can say you're not here to spit statistics. That's fine. But I'm not here to spit facts.
It's 'cause they're not on your side. That's why.
I'm not here to spit facts. So you're here to lie. Because that's all you've left yourself open to.
It's not lying, it's alternative facts from the multiverse.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, see, they're facts in universe 613, but we don't live in that universe. But they're still facts, they're just over there.
Oh, God bless. All right.
I feel that there's so much.
I paused it right there because just a moment ago, Comrade Kitty said, when we pointed out, they said they're not here to spit facts, said only feelings. And I feel, stop feeling, try thinking once in a while. Just a thought. You're a dude. You should be using your brain for logic and shit.
No, the estrogen jumbles it up and shrinks their brain, and all the facts just kind of fall out then.
Attention being put on to this specific subject, because what you guys really want underlying is the eradication of trans people and them to not be involved in any system.
No!
Hey,
I like how the blonde's like, Jesus Christ.
I think it's dangerous for men to be punching women. I think you just want to get rid of trans people and not let them do anything.
So the underlying subtext I'm picking up is you want to murder all the trans people. Did he at any point say anything like that?
No. He even qualified it with, I think you should have all the rights and abilities that I have. And no, you just want to get rid of us.
Clearly you want to murder me in my sleep and touch my no-nos. And I hate you, Pierce. You remind me of the dad that never hugged me and or hugged me too much.
I need a word stronger than retard.
Super retard?
Super retard. This is a super retard.
Supertard.
Supertard.
I watched that movie.
A souptard.
He just throws his poop at bad guys.
Oh God. It's the ultimate shaming tactic so they can keep doing what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, how many times you will not erase us. You can't make us not exist anymore. Nobody's trying to do that. Literally nobody's trying to do. Well, maybe not nobody, but 99% of people aren't doing that. And it's not the conversation that's going on.
Yeah, you know how they had the Ubermensch?
What's that?
You know how they had the Ubermensch means Superman?
Oh yeah,
They got what would be the less than, instead of the Uber being the best, what would be the sub?
I don't know. What is the opposite of Uber? Lyft.
Yeah, they have a giant mustache on.
All right.
Of trans people and them to not be involved in any system.
No, you see there, look, but look, Stassia,
that is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
Sadly, that is not the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
That's not even close to the dumbest argument we've even addressed on this show.
Yeah.
Right, it's ludicrous. Where have you got that
what a
from?
bad
Where is
representation
anything
of a
I
trans
have ever
person
said?
to speak out for others.
I'm more so referring to
I just want to say.
I have seen certain things that you said in other interviews, Pierce, with like my friend Blossom and other trans individuals.
Yeah.
I just feel that the emphasis that is being put
And what was
on
transphobic? What have I ever said that could be remotely construed as transphobic or trans-hating or...
Well, Pierce, you have to see, he's not being fair here. He needs to ask, in the real world, what have I said that was transphobic? Not in your trans reality. So
yeah, not in your weird revisionism where you misinterpret intentionally something I said.
Yeah, not your truth, in the real truth.
Real truth. I don't know about that.
wanting to get rid of trans people, ever. I challenge you right now. Tell me.
I haven't really directed that at you just from sitting here.
You literally just directed at him for the question he asked you. What the fuck? I'm not. You got mad and pointed out that I was wrong there, so I didn't mean it about you when I said it to you. This is insanity, man. Hey, who was it in chat that has seen this? Joseph, right? They don't get to speak very much, do they? Because I don't know if my blood pressure can handle it. This is a level of stupid that I'm not sure I can deal with.
Untermensch. That's
Untermensch. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the super tard. Or the undertard.
The undertard. You know what? I think I just like undertard.
I agree. I agree. But in German, that'd be Untertard, because that's what under is. Real quick, thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. Calling it now that trans is autogynephilic, it's all hyperbole, and you're trying to have us exterminated. Yep, you nailed it.
Yep.
He actually said that right before we played the clip, so.
Oh, I'm not doubting that at all, because that's what else are they going to say? They never actually address this. Phelan Fox is probably the greatest example of why men and women should not compete in combat sports together.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They
you
were
could
not
be an average man who could beat up a minor league power lifter, a woman.
If they want to have exhibition fights where a woman knows she's getting in the ring with a man, fine. And she agrees to it, fine. But there should be no penalty for women who are like, I do not want to compete against a guy.
Yeah.
All right. Phelan Fox broke a woman's orbital bone. And they were not telling the fighters that he was fighting, that it was a dude.
Why would they want to do that?
Letting these girls get their asses whipped.
Yeah, that'll learn them.
And just like with the Olympics, some of the girls that fought Phelan were like, I have never been hit that hard in my life.
See, I really don't understand how this isn't a form of misogyny to say, well,
yeah,
no, that guy can compete in sports with you because shut up, girls.
I taught my daughter to punch, Jack, and she could throw a really good punch. She's actually hurt me before because Dad taught her well. But I guarantee you I could really hurt her if I hit her back.
So your daughter hits you?
Yeah, I actually used to let her punch my arm.
Oh, okay.
To practice.
I thought it was a cry for help for a second.
No. She didn't abuse me.
Oh, she hits me. That came out of nowhere. I'm like, I'm not prepared for this. Hold on. I got to write some shit down for a report.
I would still let my daughter punch my arm. I would not let my sons do it.
Oh,
they
God,
lost
no.
the privilege of hitting Dad a long time before she did. Anyway, because I don't like to be hurt, Jack. Yeah.
I don't either. I'm delicate like a petunia.
My daughter punched me once in the arm and she caught just the top of my or the bottom there of my shoulder bone and about dropped me. It was such a perfect punch. I was so proud of her, but God damn, it hurt.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get hit with a good punch, it hurts pretty bad.
I hope my son-in-law is listening. My daughter can whip your ass.
Stay in line, boy.
Better not fuck with her. Anyway.
More so, I'm just here to say
Just
that
kidding. I
I
love my
feel
son-in-law.
that the issue that's being pressed is because it's a...
You just directed it at him. What are you talking? You directed it at him.
Shut up, Andrew, with your facts.
Thank you, Dangerous. Is this person so out of touch with reality they believe insane things like that they're a chick? So what you're saying is all trans people should be killed. I withdraw my previous question. Yes, they are deluded. They are absolutely deluded. Lady Monkey is the one who should abuse Monk. She is sweet to me. She tortures me in other ways. She doesn't even touch my butt anymore. She just makes comments about how she might do it. And it's enough to make me like, woman, get away from me.
Wow, that's some psychological fuckery there. I respect that game, Lady Monkey. Good job.
She's cruel.
I don't
She's
need to touch
cruel.
him. I've got him trained.
Anyway.
Like that Pavlov response, you just flinch automatically.
Yeah, just immediately swing my butt away from her.
Now, have you considered that might be some kind of mating call? Like she's getting you to turn your wiener toward her?
Maybe that's it. No, because she's told me to put it away before, so it's not like she doesn't have access to it.
No, that's
You know what I mean?
true.
Yeah.
Maybe every time she tries that, you should whip your wiener out and see who's going to give up first on that. Like, call that bluff. Like, all right, you want to try and grab my ass? Well, here's my wiener. Just not in public.
We are in such a weird territory.
It's been a long day, man. I got nothing.
Okay, back to this weird thing. I like when we do these and we get so far off topic that I forgot what they were talking about.
I think the audience gets annoyed, but I think these are our best shows.
Me too.
A good thing your daughter isn't listening. Oh, it'll be the one time she is.
No, she listens quite often. She really does. I get comments from her.
Oh,
she texts me now and then to comment on the show. Wouldn't be a monkey stream if he didn't mention his wiener. I haven't mentioned my wiener in a while.
To be fair, I mentioned his wiener, which is weird.
Thank you.
And now very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. I'd say we go back to the fat guy dressed as a woman. Make it a little less uncomfortable around here.
You directed it at him.
I think that the issue that is being put on trans athletes is a way to eradicate trans people.
But
all right. Is this a slippery slope argument? Is that what he's trying to say?
The fat one? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's complicated.
Because as far as I know, sex change surgeries, the first successful mutilation of a pseudo vagina was back in the 1960s. Am I wrong about that? And actually,
yeah, sounds right.
If I remember correctly, they were trying to do it way back in like the 20s or 40s overseas.
Yeah, I know in the 20s they were doing what they would now call experimentation.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been trying to do this for a long time, probably even longer than that. Probably off and on for hundreds of years, but
so trans people have existed that whole time, and they weren't allowed to play in women's sports. But if we stop them from playing in women's sports now, somehow it's to get rid of them.
Yes.
Huh. I feel like there was a logical leap there that doesn't quite reach the other side.
I would disagree. I would say it's not a logical leap. It's a self-serving argument.
It's bullshit. It's just nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah. Self-serving nonsense. This is the you should do what I want because I said I want it argument. It's like arguing with a toddler. They have a logic to it, but it's all about themselves, and it doesn't apply to anything else in the universe. Just their own selfish desires. Because kids are inherently sociopaths.
It just reminds me of all the January said, it's the worst thing that happened since Pearl Harbor. The lack of actual historical knowledge of the people who make these dumbass arguments that we respond to all the time. It's amazing to me that they bring up history when they clearly have never read any of it.
It's sort of like the stoner kid that missed 90 days out of school. Like, he has an awareness of some topics that he's heard before, but he doesn't actually have context to work with.
Thank you, Downling. I know I say it different every time, or I think I do. Thank you for becoming a member for month number 8. If you don't give me everything I want at all times, you are trying to eradicate me. Are these people children? Yes.
Yes, they are baby-brained.
All kidding aside, we have a real problem with people who've never grown up. People who have never progressed past the early part of high school. 14, 15, 16 years old, that's where they top out. And not like when I talk about how men top out at 13, meaning we're still juvenile and laugh at fart jokes. No. developmentally they stop at like 16. We have really so
it's like the celebrity thing.
Yeah. What Jack's talking about with the celebrity thing is it's something that Kanye West once said, that when you become famous, that is when you stop maturing, because suddenly everybody's doing everything for you and you don't have to do anything for yourself. You're perpetually a child because you now have 100 moms taking care of your every whim. And that's what we have. And this goes back to the overprotection of children. And even George Carlin back in the 80s, like, you guys have got to stop fetishizing your children. And we didn't listen. It's what we do. We fetishize them now, and they never grow up. Anyway, sorry. That's a whole different rant.
This is, with respect, this
Piers,
is
can I
ridiculous.
interject for a moment?
In the 1960s and 70s,
The
when
fat lady's
feminists
talking.
that came before me set up women's shelters, rape crisis centres, hospital wards, prison wings for women,
Yep.
recognising that some men, not all, but a sizable minority, are a threat to women because sexual violence and harassment is a threat. We weren't told by men, not all of them were pleased, but largely they understood. We weren't told by men, you're trying to erase and eradicate men. The vast majority of men understood why we needed to do this. All we're doing is saying men. And you
don't make the feminists look smart, please. FL, thank you so much. These people don't think they are women. They think they are better than women. That has been, especially if you follow certain of these trans folks. What's that one chick's name? Cardigan. Kelly Cardigan, I think is what his name is. As a coping mechanism. Yeah, name themselves after a sweater. Their coping mechanism anytime they're losing is to suddenly be like, all your boyfriends want to fuck me. Yeah. It's really great. And then they get mad when there's pushback to like, why are you guys so mean to me? Like, because you asked for it.
But I could be an asshole to you. You're just not allowed to be one back because then you're a transphobe.
One of the funniest ones is she got very upset because somebody referred to their fake vagina in a very derogatory way that I don't think we can say on YouTube.
No.
The closest I think I could say on YouTube is stink pocket.
That would make a great metal band. Anybody out there forming a band at like 16, call it Stink Pocket.
Stink Pocket. With their hit song, I'm Actually a Man. Thank you, Michael. My nail in the coffin for these people will always be, why do we have sex segregated sports at all? Yeah.
Well, that's what they're pushing for, is to just eliminate that in a way, because that would be the logical end result. But what they really want is just to be the best at everything. So they're not going to compete with the men. They just want to beat on women.
Cynic, I don't think I can read that one out loud. That's fucking gross, dude. Oh, all right. Let's go back to the fat dude. Oh, no, the fat woman was talking, right?
You can call them trans women if you like, but men have no place in women's prisons, domestic violence shelters, and sports.
Well, wait a second. Hang on.
Okay, Emily, you want to do... yeah, Andrew, I'm going to come to you. Andrew, I'll come to you one moment. Just let Emily jump in.
No, let him. I want to know what question he had about what she said, because I did you hear anything objectionable that she said? She said that women should have spaces that are segregated. I don't have I really want to know what Piers, you asshole. You let that fucking retard talk all the time, and this time you shut him down?
Yeah, well, look, he does make good points occasionally. So
he does, and then he fucks it all up with the rest of what he says.
Yes, because he doesn't really like women, I don't think.
It's like he's got retard Tourette's.
Do you think he's ever banged any of the OnlyFans whores that have been on that podcast?
No, his wife would never let him do that.
Oh, that's true. I don't know, maybe she likes to watch from the closet.
I would bet he's going to say it should go both ways. And I would agree with that. And she might even agree with that at her elderly age. Young feminists never think that, but older feminists tend to get along because they see that women need their spaces, and they're like, yeah, men should probably have spaces too.
Well, they have a lot more life experience.
Yeah.
So they start to realize like maybe some of the things that we advocated just can't work. Like, because now I'm a lonely spinster that nobody loves and no man will ever touch because all my stupid ideas are ingrained in me.
Oh, Dr. Functional says nope. Dr. Functional even said that. Not even close to what he says. Okay, well, let's find out.
On what you're about to say, I think, Nastasia.
Oh,
Making
we have an ad. We'll just skip that. Sorry, Piers. All right.
Ultimately, I know many trans people, and I've spoken to them about, playing in women's sports, etc. And the biggest issue they face is that they just want to be accepted. Now, if I was a trans woman and I just wanted to be accepted, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you're doing. You want to paint all of these labels on you. You want to play identity politics. You want to play the victim, but you want it to be treated as if you're any superior. That's not equality. You're receiving special treatment.
But before you ever get to that point, though, one of the trans arguments is like, I don't feel comfortable going into the men's bathroom. Okay, why is your discomfort worth more than the women who don't feel comfortable with you in their bathroom?
Because the women are going to rape them for being so sexy. Right?
Yeah. This goes back to if you go back to old time trans, back when we were allowed to call them trannies, right?
Yeah.
They weren't about forcing themselves on everybody and making a spectacle of it. It's become a spectacle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can always tell about where they fall in the age line because the older ones just want to be left alone. They just want to live their life and be left alone. They're not trying to get any attention. They just want to blend into the background. They want to be passing. Now it's all about, oh my God, look at me. I'm so amazing.
Yeah. Buck Angel didn't used to be a trans woman. It was just a woman is what he wanted to be seen as.
Yeah.
It was when they decided that trans itself is an identity that all this stupid shit started.
Yeah. When it was I'm in process.
Yeah, because that's what this is where the cis trans thing comes from. For those of you who don't know why. Trans has always meant transition. But some fucking retard, what is it? I always have to ask the audience. It's like chemistry or some science that I suck at, where there's a trans and a cis. Those are two different things in this science. And so like, that's what it is. There's trans and cis. So there's cis people and we're trans. No. It's people transitioning. And when you're done transitioning, then you're the other thing. That was the whole point all along. Chemistry. Thank you, guys. I know I've looked it up before and read all about it because I was like, how the fuck did this become a thing? And then I read it and like, of course. It'll shock you to know that came from an academic, Jack.
Oh, no. I'm so surprised.
Right.
An academic who misused and misinterpreted something for their own gain.
It is amazing how many retarded ideas come out and become widely accepted from academics.
What?
Look, just because somebody's in a college and teaches at a college doesn't make them smart. Most of them are retarded.
Yeah.
Or they would have other jobs.
Well, they've been in college too long. Thank you, the first eunuch, for that feminist donation. So is that acting girly like back in 5000 BC? And they chopped my little guy off and boom, I'm a girl, right? Right? No, eunuchs understood they were still men. They just didn't have a wiener anymore because some king got pissed off at them.
Joseph says, science has fallen. Look into the replacement crisis. Science has always been like this. It's just more widely abused these days because we have social media and the regular media. And for some reason, we've started treating them like rock stars. Science has been used to push a lot of really bad shit for a really long time.
Yeah.
All right, where are we?
treatment that does not make you equal but makes you superior to others is not looking to be included. It's actually making people detest your cause. It's making people think that you are a moron. And the way that you're trying to represent the trans community as a whole by just denying that there's a threat and being delusional about it is not helping the trans people.
Well, in fairness, she didn't say all of that. The fat guy in the middle claiming to be a chick, they just completely avoided the issue, which makes her look even dumber. So
you're making people look at you from the outside and say, wow, they are out of touch with reality.
I think that the verbiage that you use in this statement is very clear on where you stand on trans issues. I'm going to go back to my original.
She said you're making yourself look stupid by pretending reality isn't real.
Yes, but now they could be dismissive because they said something kind of mean and they exposed themselves. So I could disavow all of what you said. Just ignore it and I'll create a different point and move the goalpost by about 100 meters to the right.
And this is why you have to be careful in conversations and debates, especially online debates, which I think is why I like Piers' show so much lately, is because it's the only place you really get debates online anymore. Otherwise, it's everybody kissing each other's ass, even though they hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so good to talk with you. Oh, so good to talk with you too. And I do like those. I like the Stephen A. Smith, Ben Shapiro talk. That was actually a really good talk. But I like the fighting too. I think there has to be rigorous debate. I think it's good for society for us to be able to see that fat thing in the middle there making the moronic arguments, and even the feminists going, you're retarded. She nodded right along when Blondie there called that chick a moron. Said it makes you look like a moron. She's like, yep, it does. Trans people bringing feminists and the right wing together. Who'd have thought?
We live in weird times, man. Very weird times. But yeah, now the trans person could go play victim though and be like, oh, I got attacked and there were 4 of them ganging up on me, taking turns abusing my body.
All right.
Point. You guys trying to take out trans people from sports is a way to eradicate trans people from public.
But we're not. We're
nobody
trying to
has said
eradicate
anything.
lunatics like
Nobody's
yourself.
here.
Has anybody said anything close to like trans people shouldn't be allowed in public?
It's in the verbal penumbra.
Stasia, nobody has said that. And this
not only has nobody said that, nobody said anything even remotely close to that. And that's what they started out with. This is why I said we need to stop with all of this qualifying language. Piers spent 2 minutes qualifying his goddamn statement to make sure everybody knows he doesn't hate the transes. Oh God, I've been watching too much Sean. Actual Justice Warrior uses the term transes all the time. He made sure I like the transes. I support the transes. I just don't think you should be beating up women. And what was the first response? You just want to eradicate us all.
You just want me dead. You want to put your filthy right-wing boot on my beautiful soft skin and stomp me over and over and over again. Oh my God.
It reminds me of that South Park where it shows Mr. Slave when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he yells out, look at that gay guy over there. Jump him. And then all the football team jumps on him.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is what happens, if you don't mind me saying, what happens, the way that trans activists let themselves down, in my opinion, and you can respond to this, is that you try and shut down perfectly legitimate, in fact, urgently important debate.
But he doesn't see it that way.
No,
and this is why you can't have a reasonable, logical conversation with this person. And I'm not saying not even all trans activists, but this person specifically, you're not going to get that point through to them because they started off from that, even though nobody said anything close to it.
Yeah, well, the victim stance is the default because then they can declare themselves the winner.
Yes.
Oh my God, all of these people ganged up on me.
I can't believe how transphobic they were to me.
Yeah, the victimology is such a dangerous thing these days. It's a point of pride the higher you are on the victim chart, the more accolades you get, the more money you seem to get.
Thank you, the logical male, who says, "Hey guys, fun fact: did you know Tommy Lawrence supported Bruce Jenner running for governor?"
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of the people in the governor's race, so I don't know, but I'd still bang Tommy Lawrence. She's kind of cute.
I'm not shocked by it. I mean, Trump has been supportive of Bruce Jenner. This is the lie that the idiot in the middle wants to tell, right? Is that the right just doesn't like anybody that's trans. That's not true.
No,
it's not even close to true.
No, just because you don't want a bunch of dudes in skirts pretending to be trans beating up women doesn't make you a bigot.
And it's not even. You're right about that part, but it goes further than that when going in like the bathroom bills, right? Or adding trans to the equal opportunities bullshit and making it a protected class. That shit shouldn't be happening. And I actually had a conversation because I know trans people in my real life, Jack.
Yeah.
And one of our audience members was shocked to learn that I was actually nice to him. I'm like, I'm not a mean person. I still have opinions about things, but it's not like every person I see that I have a problem with some little part of their life that I'm like, you're going to burn in hell, fucker.
Yeah, I'm the asshole here. Let's be honest. But yeah, no, there's no need to be a complete asshole to someone right out the gate. I mean, not everybody is going to be contradicting you. Even Bruce Jenner has some very conservative views.
Yes.
And what's the trans porn star? Name's escaping me right now.
Are you talking about Buck?
Yeah, Buck Angel. Buck Angel even acknowledges some things I agree with.
Yeah.
And generally way more liberal of a person, but on some issues you can find common ground. And you don't have to be an asshole to someone just because you disagree with their politics. I'm usually an asshole to most people, but
I have great sympathy for dysphoric people.
Oh, absolutely. But they're an incredibly tiny percentage of the population. Yep. Dysphoria sounds like one of the worst things you could ever fucking get.
And it's not that I agree with the lifestyle or anything. It's as long as it's not affecting me and they're not pushing it on other people, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, leave the kids alone and stop trying to force everybody to accept you.
Yeah. It's how I feel about almost everything.
Yeah, we're pretty consistent on that point. Although, I kind of call women with tiny girl brains.
They
call it like I see it. Biological reality. What can I say?
Buck Angel advocates for laws against transing children. Buck Angel's pretty much on par with me in my thinking about trans issues, at least as much as I've seen of Buck's opinion on this. And it was really funny to me to watch one of these little trans activist shitbags tell Buck Angel that they were transphobic.
Yeah. Okay.
Told the trampa he was transphobic.
I don't think they knew he was trans, but still, you're talking about somebody that was a massive groundbreaker in the trans activism movement originally. What is by and large like one of the oldest trans activists still around. So
Buck is honest in it, and they really hate it. Like Buck will tell you straight out, I'm a biological woman.
Yeah.
I am a biological, no matter how much I change my body, I'm a biological woman.
Well, Buck comes from that generation of like first to second wave feminism where they were still recognizing reality and didn't get off into Delulu land trying to convince themselves of things like just ignoring science.
What I love about this panel is that the woman here on the left, the chunkier one there, is responsible for the one in the middle, for that guy in the middle in a dress.
Yes,
you led to this shit.
I think a lot of those old feminists from like the 60s, I think they're recognizing that. They just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, this all comes from your intersectional bullshit that you put up with. Anyway.
By saying that anyone who dares to question this is transphobic and wants to get rid of trans people. I don't think anyone so far on this panel has said they want to get rid of trans people or anything like it.
But you see, you're right, Pierce, as we pointed out, but they didn't say anybody had actually said that. What they said is that what you are saying is just a cover for what you really want to do.
Dog whistles.
Yes.
The
And
only Tubby there can hear.
This is why I said you can never convince somebody like this, because they have no basis for that thought. They even said that they had gone out and I'll just say he went out and said that I watched your interview with my friend Bubbles or whatever the fuck their name was. And he goes, well, what did I say that was transphobic? Well, I wasn't directing that at you. Say, you cannot win with somebody like this.
No.
There's
too many pit traps that they've placed over the years that you're going to step into one of them and then they're like, haha, you're a bigot. Because that's their go-to. They just have to call you a bigot.
All right.
And yet you keep saying you people all want to get rid of trans people. Why do you believe that? Where have you got that from?
Because they're emotionally 9 years old and they've been coddled by society for the last fucking decade and told that everybody just hates you if they don't think everything about you is the most perfect thing ever. I can't exactly blame this person because they are a product of their environment. 100% a product of their environment. Now, they're an adult. They should be able to start thinking, but thinking is something that has to be taught.
Sadly.
And these days, kids aren't taught how to think. They're taught what to think.
Yeah, which leads to a lot of short-sighted behavior.
Yep.
Like what we're seeing here. This person has a platform here with thousands of viewers to express what they really think. Instead, they're doing it by dodging questions and name-calling. That is pathetic, it's childish, and it is not advancing anything.
See the shit-eating grin he just had on his face? Yeah, Dangerous. He's done that a few times, especially when he got called a moron, because he's like, oh, I got that bitch now. She called me an insult. That shows that she wants to kill everybody like me.
Yeah.
All right.
Sad.
Are you ready for his answer?
No, but go ahead.
All right, let's find out.
You cite my interviews with some of your friends, but where have I said anything remotely that could be construed as transphobic? I don't get it.
I think the verbiage that was being used, it's very clear you guys stand on all trans issues.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So what is the solution for the trans people that are playing sports? What's the solution for them? We're just supposed to kick them out all entirely?
Let them go play with the boys where they belong.
Yeah.
Look, they still exist, but they're playing with the boys now where they fucking belong. And this isn't an issue like Title IX where we got to turn around and make a whole new sports league for just the transes because there's not enough of them to even support that shit. Just go play where you belong. And then you can throw on a dress afterwards. You'll be fine.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say, Monkey, is we need a minor league for the men's sports.
Yes. Oh, fuck, man.
Let me give you the solution. Let me give you the solution. The solution's very straightforward. Almost all of them competed against biological men like themselves before, but they did it far less successfully. So you either go back, trans women athletes either compete against their biological sex, or you create an entirely new category for trans athletes.
You do not need to. Okay. He just pointed out that these people, almost all of them, used to compete against boys and they couldn't cut it. And so then they started going against girls. And instead of just saying, look, you sucked like me, Jack, I would have loved to have been in the NFL, man, but I did not have the dedication for that. So now what they need is a fat old guy who wishes he had put in the effort. I need my own sports league now.
Yes. Which would be way better to watch because it'd be funny as shit.
A whole bunch of people want to be athletes and can't. They are not in the upper echelon, even at the high school level, to be competing. It sucks for them. Go play with your friends on the weekend like the rest of us did.
Yeah, you play in local leagues and stuff like that.
You do not need your own goddamn trans league. I'm so tired. See, this is just more capitulation. They're guys. If they can't hang with the guys in the sport, then they don't get to play. They get to go play with their friends. All right. Sorry.
What you don't do is allow them to destroy the integrity of women's sport, which is what is happening. So it's very straightforward how you solve this. I don't want trans people to be banned from playing sport. I just want them to be banned like I did with the dopers when they were cheating in sport. I want them to be banned from utilizing an unfair advantage. It's simple as that.
I think
Can I
that
ask
some
her
of
a
the
question? Would you think it's fair if Novak Djokovic identified as a woman and then played Serena Williams in a tennis set? Do you think that that would be fair to Serena Williams, who worked her whole life to become a star tennis player, just to get swept by Novak, who's the #1 men's tennis player? I just want to know if you think that that's fair.
Yeah, I just think that the question is ridiculous because
Why is it ridiculous?
Yeah, why is that question ridiculous? I've seen this before. There was a Cenk Uygur. Speaking of Sean, if you guys haven't been watching Actual Justice Warrior, he's been covering the story of the one chick who just basically got fired from TYT because she was insulting Cenk. And
Candace Owens? Oh
no, who the fuck? What's her name? Francesca something. She decided to go after Cenk because there was another show he was on where they were talking about trans in sports, and he was using soccer stars. Like, you would be okay. Fiorentina. I've heard Sean say the name 100 times, and I can't pronounce it if I'm reading it. But his point was like, hey, you think it would be fine for like one of the #1 soccer players to switch to being women and then go play? And it was like, that is just a ridiculous question. Why would you even ask something like that?
It's a legitimate question.
Because it makes the point. Serena Williams at the top of her game is easily the best female tennis player in the world, probably because of her man shoulders. But her and her sister got their asses absolutely whipped by a drunk guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, if you haven't seen the video on, is pretty funny.
They came out and bragging that what'd they say? They could take anybody in the top 50 or the like 50 to 100 or something like this. And this guy was in that bracket. And afterwards are like 500 to 800 because men are just bigger and stronger.
Yeah, and she doesn't say that shit anymore. She doesn't say we can beat men anymore.
Because she finally had to play against one and got her ass whipped, and it wasn't even a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really low ranking.
Low rank, and he'd been drinking all day. Anyway.
It's not ridiculous at all.
I see how it's trying to be framed. I'm gonna keep going back to my original point. Your guys.
Yeah, you're not going to address the actual question. It's how it's framed. The framing is important. How did this ideology take such fucking hold when they won't answer easy questions?
Because everybody's afraid of being called a bigot.
If you honestly believe that there's no advantage to men playing against women, your answer to that question will be absolutely. It'd be a tight match, and everybody would laugh at you because you're stupid.
Yeah. And you said tight.
You know damn good and well why you're not answering that question. It has nothing to do with the framing of it being just ridiculous. It's because you can't answer it without sounding retarded.
Yeah.
Guys' excessive attention on wanting to remove trans people from sports and have them play in their biological sex, which makes no sense because even in John Oliver's interview,
or in their own category,
the category that would make sense,
or in their own category,
there's not enough of them to create a category.
Well, it's a good thing we're reshaping society for them when there's not enough of them to get their own category in sports. what percentage of people are actually playing in sports? Like say a high school, right? The high school I attended in Virginia, there were 3,000 students. We had a JV and a varsity team for football, baseball, soccer, basketball, and combined maybe 300 kids played sports. So 10%. You guys can't even put together 10%. But we got to reshape society for you because you're 0.04% of the population. But you guys got to bend over backwards for me. My mommy told me I'm special. So did my uncle.
Uncle Bad Touch.
Then he gave me a no-no drink.
I had the Jesus juice, then my butt hurt.
Like the percentile is so small.
Actually, there actually are an increasingly large number of trans athletes around the world.
There's people identifying as trans to get an advantage in sports. And we've talked about this before. One of the arguments is nobody would do that in sports. Nobody would dress as a woman just to get an advantage like they've actually made movies about, or the East German swim team.
Yeah. What? They're cheaters in sports? I'm going to tell my friend Barry Bonds. He will be very upset about all this.
Yeah. Nobody would put their body through horrible shit for athletic glory. Get
Just
fucked.
be number one. No, that would never happen, Monkey.
God,
You're
I hate
being
these people.
silly.
Joanna Man, yeah, there've been several of them, man.
Yeah.
Didn't Rob Schneider do one?
Probably.
World, actually, that's not true. Andrew, you've been waiting very patiently. Thank you. This seems.
I will give it up to Andrew. We're 15 minutes in, and he only interrupted a tiny little bit, and he shut up when. I wonder if Piers had a talk with him. Because he usually interrupts constantly. So I want to. I'm very mean to Andrew because I think he's a douche, but I want to give him a little bit of credit there for actually acting like a man and shutting the fuck up for once.
Yeah, look, I interrupt you all the time because I step on what you're saying. But look, man, there's a point where it gets obnoxious.
Yes.
And you have to. It's really hard to gauge that line sometimes. Like, I do it to you all the time, so I know it's obnoxious. But,
I don't notice you doing it to me, honestly.
Oh yeah, you've got to, because it's usually when we end up with the lag.
Oh, that's different. That's not your fault.
Yeah, well, I don't try and interrupt you. It just sometimes happens. But Andrew is notorious for that, and he does it on purpose. So it's really frustrating to watch because it's like, dude, just stop. It's annoying.
Pat brought up an example that's one I bet hardly nobody uses is Rodney Dangerfield's movie Ladybugs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or just one of the guys.
Just one of the. Oh man, that chick was cute.
Yeah, she was. That was a fun movie too.
And we got to see her boobies.
Yeah, they were nice at the time. I was like, I like those. I don't know what's happening.
Why did my pants feel funny? Dangerous. Thank you so much. The guy who Venus Serena lost to was the 203rd ranked tennis player. One of them pointed out afterwards that she was playing shots that would be winners against women. He returned said shots easily. Yeah. If I remember correctly, they even mentioned how fast his serve was. The Williams sisters were notorious for their fast serve, but that's a fast serve in women's tennis. And again, that's not taking those girls play hard, man. I have respect for them as tennis players, as female tennis players.
Yeah, but they're still female tennis players.
They're the best at what they did, which was women's tennis, not tennis.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To me, this whole debate so far highlights the way this debate has been framed now for years.
True.
Which is that any attempt to question what is obviously grotesquely unfair and unequal and indeed unsafe is branded transphobic, even when there's no evidence to suggest that the people saying it are transphobic.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, basically everybody in this panel is wrong. So to start with, This person says, this person's
fucking Andrew. Somebody in the chat said he's a douche, but he's right here. Andrew is right quite often. He's just a fucking douche.
Yeah. Yeah, he says a lot of the right things, but then he adds like a little bit of stupid onto it. But his core principles are generally agreeable to some degree.
Sure, yeah.
Says, well, the thing is you just want to erase transgender people altogether, Pierce, and then says, I wasn't saying that, Pierce. I wasn't saying that you want to erase trans people, not you specifically, when clearly that's what you were saying. At least
and not just that. Then goes on to say just a moment ago that what you guys are, everybody on the panel, you're just showing me what you really believe. Still without any evidence of what they said.
Oh, you don't need evidence when you're morally correct.
He went from saying it to Pierce to then saying he wasn't saying it about Pierce to then saying everyone on the panel's that way. And Andrew hadn't even spoke yet.
Yeah. Which, if you're going to label anyone, Andrew's your boy.
Right. Oh, my God.
Behind the statements that you're making. The TERF starts out by saying, well, I've been here reinforcing women's rights this entire time, right? And then the TERF says,
wait a second. We got to go back. Watch Trans's face here.
Enforcing women's rights this entire time, right? And then the TERF says,
why is Trans's making that face?
Can't believe you said that. Oh my God, you hate women. You hate women like me.
He's saying it about the feminists, though.
Yeah, that's still a woman. They got to stand up for each other. Girl power.
But transes are supposed to hate TERFs. Because TERF is trans exclusionary radical feminist.
Yeah.
All right.
But you're forgetting that Andrew is still a man, which makes him more evil than the TERF.
Hey, P-Dog, how you doing, my friend? He says, Andrew is not a douche, he's a dick. By the way, P-Dog, I did sing to you on my first show back. And he says, and I'm okay with that sometimes. No, I don't think he's a dick. I think he's a douche. I really do. Oddly, I can respect a douche more than I can a dick in some circumstances, and then the other way around in others. I don't know what it is in my brain that separates the two, but I know there's a separation. And sometimes I respect one more than the other, and then other times the opposite.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the argument being made.
And the reason I say he specifically is a douche is because he mostly picks on stupid women.
Yeah, they're already at disadvantage because they're women, and then they're stupid on top of that. Oh, was that out loud? Sorry.
He built up a decent sized audience on his own, but he really took off when he started going on, especially like the Whatever podcast.
Yeah.
And at this point, you're talking about women who are one IQ point from eating through a tube down their throat.
Yeah, some of those OnlyFans girls, like, wow, no wonder you can't hold a regular job.
Yeah.
There's a reason you're just doing a biological imperative on film, because holy shit, some of them are dumb.
So that's where he crosses into douche territory for me. Once or twice I get it, or even poking a little fun here and there, but that's become his bread and butter is his clips from there rather than from his show, and it's distasteful. And Piers is making it worse because he just brings him on with these tards. Well, anyway,
Piers is a closet woman, closet feminist.
He's not a closet woman. He's British. That's how they all are.
I thought I said that.
Yeah. He's a red coat.
Yeah. Fucking red coats.
Fucking red coats. I was just thinking the other day about how much I respect British people, Jack. And I mean that sincerely to my British audience. I'm not kidding about that. Because I was thinking about the fake civility of Americans.
Yeah.
And how Americans get their feelings hurt. Everybody says, I just want the truth. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because if somebody tells you the truth, you're going to get mad about it. Where, like, if somebody says, hey, does this dress make me look fat? The American thing is, no, of course not. You look great. The British thing is, you are fat. And nobody gets offended. They're just like, oh, okay.
Oh,
And they move on with their day.
They have stiff upper lips.
They got that stiff upper lip.
Yeah,
It's
they
from their
just have-
teeth jetting straight out.
Yeah, and then they have tea time together.
Love you, Brits.
Yeah, look, I have a lot of respect for the British people overall. It's the loudest ones among them, like the loudest ones here, are really annoying. And they have an authoritarian shitbag government. So,
And Evolve points out you can't do that anymore. Yeah, it's getting worse and worse. But if you just see regular British people, it's kind of like Australians, man. I respect the way you guys talk to each other. In America, we have to be so fucking careful of everybody's feelings. Where
it used to be that way, man.
No.
Miss those days.
I like watching British people talk to each other, just regular. I'm not talking about their politicians and stuff, because they'll just like say things that in America you're like, ooh, that was mean. And it's not mean. It's just, reality.
Yeah.
Speaking of reality, back to this.
Right on top of that, but poker's very misogynistic. She can't wait to dunk on men. Very first thing she does is dunk on men in order to somehow elevate women, right? You're all insane.
Well, she wasn't elevating women there. I had a problem with her comments there too, Jack, and I went over it quite well. But she wasn't elevating women there. She was saying that the environment that men create isn't real welcoming for women. And that's true. That's why back in the day, like guys would be sitting around playing poker and like a wife comes in like, hey guys, clean it up. The woman's in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was out of respect.
Yes.
Because there should be like men and women only spaces.
Yes.
Because then, like the old gentleman's club, you could kind of let loose and say some crass things that you couldn't say around your wife, and everybody has a good laugh because it's like, ha ha ha, we're being naughty. And women can sit around and I don't know what women do together, have pillow fights or something, sew things, talk about kids, whatever chicks do when they're together.
Faithless says she was denigrating, not dunking. I don't think she was even denigrating. She wasn't wrong about those spaces. My point was that women could have just gone and done their own thing, and that poker is more of a male thing anyway. That's why you don't see women's poker clubs popping up around the neighborhood. They could do it.
Yeah, but very few women are interested in poker.
Yeah. And that is more of the issue. It's not because of how men are. It's because it's a man thing. Like you guys like shoes. And until Nike came along, us guys were like, I don't know the fuck. I have no respect for any of you who collect shoes. I just want to let you know that.
Yeah, I don't really respect men that collect shoes.
Stop being bitches.
Yeah, it's such a kind of girly thing.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that had a bunch of the Jordan shoes and he was always talking about it. I'm like, dude, you sound like a woman.
Yeah. I have 3 pairs of footwear. I have my tennis shoes. I have my other tennis shoes I haven't thrown away yet. And I have sandals. That's it.
I don't even have sandals. I have slippers, but I own 2 pairs of shoes, a formal set, and my sneakers.
Okay, you're right. I do have slippers too. And I have several different slippers, but they've been gifts.
Yeah, that's different. You don't buy those for yourself.
Yeah.
Slippers are usually gifted to you.
I have my Charger slippers that were a gift. I have my Deadpool ones that were a gift. And then I have the ones that I bought myself that are like a house shoe.
Yeah, I got
like Mr. Rogers. Yeah.
Got a really nice pair my dead brother left behind.
There you go.
So, thanks, bro. Wearing your shoes.
I have a pair of New Balance with a hole in them and flip-flops. See, that's a manly way to be.
Yeah.
You guys out there like, I got 400 pairs of sneakers. You're a woman. Your vagina is going to grow in real soon.
Yeah, you should go get your testosterone level checked. I would respect it more if you were like a multimillionaire and you had a wardrobe. Like you got a big room full of clothes with suits and stuff like that. And you just have a bunch of shoes by default because certain shoes go with certain suits or something.
That's why you need white tennis shoes, because they go with everything. I'm just saying.
Huh. I don't know. If you're running around in the woods trying to escape an axe murderer, white is probably not the color you want. You want a darker earth tone color.
Well, you don't generally prepare for that outfit.
I prepare that outfit every day I go out because you just never know.
As for people with lots of money, like Shannon Sharp, he notoriously has a foot fetish or a shoe fetish, and I judge him for it, even though he is incredibly wealthy. Look, it's your money. If you want to be a woman, be a woman. I don't care. But men who like stab each other over shoes, I'm like, God damn, you're a bitch.
Yeah, you remember when people were killing each other for British knights? And,
Yes.
it's like, why? They weren't even that cool looking. Like, what are you doing?
I remember when British Knights were a thing.
Yeah, weren't they partly owned by like a group of the KKK or something?
I have no idea. I just remember that's when I lived in the hood, and they were everywhere for a little bit.
Wow.
All right. I do own a pair of winter boots. Look, if you have a couple of pair of work boots, like you got winter boots and then your work boots and a pair of tennis shoes and a dress pair, I get it. There's reason to have, but if you got like 6 pairs of dress shoes, you're just a girl. Evil One says I'm out. Is it because we're insulting people who like shoes? Anyway, Shannon Sharp wears a spandex tailored suit. He was a Bronco. What do you expect?
The truth is that the only reason that this happens to begin with is because women vote for it. They vote for it. They vote blue. They vote left. They vote in the same politicians.
You're close, Andrew, but it's not even the voting. It's not even the voting about this, Jack. Women just push this in general. And it goes back to their need for every, like that little weirdo in the middle, like, I just feel like everybody wants to kill me. The woman response to that is, oh, are you okay, honey? Instead of, shut up, you fucking weirdo, which is what that person needs to hear.
Yeah.
So he's right that women have pushed it in the political sphere, but it goes way beyond that.
Real quick, I didn't see this come in. Sorry, Evil One. Thank you, Evil One, for the generous donation over on Cash App. It says, go buy some Asian food or cute little hottie. Thank you. I'm gonna go for choice number 2, and then maybe she'll cook me choice number 1. Thanks, Evil One. Yeah, I'm real sorry I missed that. That came in a little while ago. I can't hear my phone with the headphones on.
Do not go buy people.
You can't buy people, but you can rent them.
Rent away. I'm all in favor of that, but just for the record, we're not buying people here.
No, not for purchase, just for massages.
Put that shit on layaway like the rest of us. Put a ring on it.
No, you don't put a ring on it. Then they get half your shit. Also, thank you, Wolfgang Deo Sober Drunk, for the generous donation. As a sailor, my drinking problem is that everyone has a problem with me having more whiskey than 1 bottle at a time, while preventing me from buying more at the goddamn 3 a.m. in the morning. People fucking suck. I don't care. Well, thank you, Wolfgang. Don't worry. Time will pass and everything will be okay.
I've only been cut off drinking once, and it was probably the right idea, and I just found it funny at the time. I'm not a mad drunk. I thought it was funny as shit. Anyway.
Who get behind all of this stuff. You're the deciding vote,
True.
Right? And you have empowered women to do that as much as possible
Very
for the
true.
political process to do that. All of you are responsible for this.
And men let it happen. You cannot take that part away from it. Men, you got to stop being afraid of women and stop being afraid of giving your opinion. Because none of this shit would have happened if men would have manned up.
Yeah.
They don't outnumber us by that much, and they still mostly vote for men anyway. So, you're right. You're right. Women did this. We let it happen. That's on us, man. Should have been men.
Every last one of you.
Really glad that you're so
Emily
perfect.
as well.
Trump.
Yeah.
Leave me out of this one. I'm good.
Well,
You're not, though, because he does not like women. He is a misogynist. And I think it's because his wife treats him like shit at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want it in the butt again. And she's like, take it. And he's like, okay. And it's made him very angry towards women.
See, and we
Well,
get
not just
into
what Andrew
covert
kept saying.
feminism.
All of you. Do you include Emily, Andrew, or not?
Well, I just assumed it. I just assumed it. But this is the truth. The truth is, we begin with these crazy ideas, right? Under patriarchal rule, under men, this would never have happened, right?
Dude, women had no power. Who gave them power, Jack?
Men.
Men. We did this. You can't say this could never happen under patriarchy. It happened because of us.
Well, Athena might have been involved. I'm not sure.
Women did not stage a fucking revolution, go storm a armory, and get their rights at gunpoint.
You don't remember the Cooter Revolution?
The Cooch Revolution.
Yeah.
It's all about grass.
Man, I am bad at missing donos tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. Thank you, Eagle, who says, because I'm in a good mood. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Henpecked husbands did. No, just men in general. Men being afraid of standing up. The kind of men who do commercials where a guy goes to try to talk to girl, like, no, man, don't do that. They're women. Leave them alone. Shh. Men got so goddamn afraid of women because, oh my God, they'll be mean to us. Be men. You don't have to tell women what to do, but you can tell them when they're being dumb. Men, this would never happen under a patriarchal society. Well, we used to be one. How'd we get here?
Good times can't last forever, dude.
Men deserve just as much shit as women do for this. And it bothers me when only women... See, look, I'm not a sexist. I think both sides are fucking retarded. Anyway, go ahead, Andrew. Tell me how great it was under just men when they decided to let women do all this shit, you fucking retard.
Right? If you look at how men vote, they vote against this nonsense. And it's fathers who are on the front lines against it. It's women who are trying to transition the children, not men. Give me a case example of where male fathers are trying to transition their kids.
Okay, you can say that, but many of the psychologists, including the ones that this nonsense started with, were men.
Yeah.
Men don't do it. Men are great. Men are great. No. Men are just as dumb as women most of the time. Stop it.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not the gender that matters. It's the fact that they're a pervert.
Yeah. In this topic specifically, yeah.
Doesn't exist. It's a female-only phenomenon.
No, it's
literally
not.
a female-only phenomenon.
That is insane.
Yeah, show me one male father who's fighting in the courts to transition their son.
Yeah, just because there's not one father doing it, I can top that. John Money, motherfucker.
Yeah, and there have been dads that have been in the news for helping to transition their kids. So it's just not as common.
Yeah, it is more common that women are doing that. But if you're talking about where all this shit started, where this comes from, it came from male psychologists. Don't let men off the hook for this. Because if we don't hold everybody that is part of this responsible, it's just going to happen again. That's true. It's mainly women pushing the trans surgery nonsense. Yeah, and it's men letting them do it. Men should be standing up, and instead they're like, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on this. They're more bitch than the bitches are. That should be a t-shirt. You're more bitch than the bitches. All right.
On to a girl.
Actually,
Nowhere.
I made a
That's a reach.
podcast
I
series
see men on
about this.
TikTok that are diseased.
See?
I interviewed quite a few fathers that are pushing for this. But the point is that this is something that benefits men, and it's men that are the ones that are saying they're women. They are all of a sudden the oppressed and
No, it's women saying they're men, saying they're women, because Andrew doesn't believe men can make mistakes.
feminists like me are the oppressor, and that they're too weak and pathetic to fight and play against other men. And what do? They come and beat up on women.
Do you vote left, ma'am?
I don't know what vote left means.
She's British. She has no choice but to vote left.
Yeah, there's left and more left. That's pretty much it.
Do you vote for the left-wing party of your
nation? Do you vote for Democrats?
Do you vote for what would be?
They don't have Democrats. Oh my God. There is a Democrat party over there, but nobody votes for him. Even the liberals don't vote for him.
Yeah.
It's Labor and Tories. Figure it out. Those are the two. They have other parties, but those are the prevailing parties over there in England.
I'm
considered the Democrats of your nation.
No, I wouldn't have voted for the Democrats. I would not have voted for the disgrace of that party. And I also wouldn't have voted for Trump. But the point is,
if we look, hang on, let me finish. We'll follow up. Very quickly.
We live in a different.
She's answering. See, this is what I don't like about him when he does this interrupting shit. It's like gay destiny right here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of redundant, but.
Gayer destiny.
Gayer destiny. Look, with a beard. That's telling.
Well, we do.
What I'm saying to you is this. It's very simple. If you look at the voting patterns of women in both the UK and the United States, they're usually the deciding vote when it comes to degeneracy. That includes it includes on the trans issue. So here you are. It's the very thing that you push for empowerment of women that is now causing your very problem. You have to now convince women. Men are already there. Men have already said, nope, we don't want this. We never wanted it.
That are claiming
it's garbage.
To be women.
Yeah, apart from the women who are claiming to be men, which now it's almost equalized. Remember that part, right? This phenomenon.
Well, that's largely based on high school girls. The equilibrium, because it's always been more trans women than trans men. But with this being a social contagion, of course, it was going to hit high school girls, especially with it being so social media driven more than anyone else. And that's where you see the big influx of that. And that shit pretty much peters out once they leave high school.
Though is categorically rejected by men and reinforced.
No, it's not. No, it's not. See, this is why I don't like this motherfucker. He's right about women having a problem here. But acting like there's no men involved or that they're minor parts of this, that's just nonsense. Women make up 51% of the population of the United States, Jack. And in any given state, there's a little bit of a switch back and forth there. But it's not like Oregon is blue by 51.5%. And that discounts all the women who are against it as well. You can't just boil it. This is why I always tell you, both people are responsible, men and women. You have to hold them both accountable. And he's given all the fucking Tim Wallses out there a pass. Tim Walz doesn't exist. It's just women. Told you he's a douche.
By women, and turfs like you did everything that you could possibly do in order to push that. You did everything you could do to push that. And now you get to reap the whirlwind. So I don't care if women in their sports teams are getting their teeth kicked in. I don't care. Reap what you sow.
Most of them are little girls who've never been able to vote, you fucking prick.
Yeah, if they were going up against this old lady in combat sports, I'd be with him. But no, they're dumping this on their nieces and nephews because they don't have kids.
I don't care if women are getting their teeth kicked in 7th grade. Hey, they voted for this. God, I hate this guy.
As you sow, so shall you reap. And you get exactly what you deserve.
You seem like a lovely person.
I'm sorry that you have to deal with the consequences of your own actions.
She doesn't. She's talking about other people having to deal with the consequences of this. God, he's so insufferable, man. We'll do a little bit more. We're at the 2-hour mark.
Drew made a lot of news on social media with his debate with Tomi Lahren last week after accusing her of being a covert feminist. Let's remind people of that clip which went viral.
Most men are born to be protectors.
He's already shown this clip once.
He's showing it again. Got to fill time.
And providers. I can't
have him showing the same shit that I'm gonna have to pause through 30 times.
Again.
You know how long this show will be? God damn.
Imagine my dad saying, you know what, to my mom, you know what, I'm not going to be a protector and a provider unless you do this. That's not how real men operate. Real men are protectors.
Andrew's only seen real men in movies, sweetie. And when he's peeking in the men's room.
And providers, and they marry women who hopefully
great.
have
A
some
woman telling
virtue,
us what
but
real
also
men
bring a
are
lot
again.
to the
Great.
table as well, that are great mothers, great wives.
You don't think women can tell what a real man is?
I would hope that they could tell. Because if they can't, we're in really big trouble.
Caretakers of the home. There's nothing wrong with being a traditional wife and mother.
So, Emily, where do you sit? Are you a covert feminist like Tommy? Did you agree with Andrew's assessment?
I'm not a covert feminist. I am very outwardly, the word feminism has been hijacked by like the woke left.
Oh God.
All women are some degree of feminist.
She's going to give us, I believe feminism just means equality.
I believe in equality.
She's going to give us literally the 2016 bedroom feminist version.
Probably.
See, this is what I was talking about. They can't help it. Society's been so brainwashed with this shit that even the conservatives fall for this shit.
Yeah.
Dr. Functional says nope. We'll see. We'll see if I agree with your assessment.
Left who uses it as an excuse for psychotic women and liberals to scream on the streets, we want equal rights when we have equal rights. I'm more so an empowered woman who encourages other women to, be independent, work hard, chase your dreams. And that doesn't come at the expense of being feminine. It doesn't come at the expense of now, as a feminist, you need to eradicate all men. I don't think everything is so black or white. Listening to that debate, they spoke a bit about gender roles. And
okay. Ask her about the Chris Brown Rihanna thing. I want to know if she thinks it was okay for Chris Brown to punch that woman when she was hitting him. Then I'll know if you believe in equality or if you're just trying to hide your feminist nonsense.
Now, I think rules of decorum mean when a chick hits you, you can use the back of your hand. Because if you punch them, then you're using more force than they were.
Yeah, I hear you, but that's not exactly how getting hit works.
Well, I know, but they're going to come up with some asinine rules. You might as well, we can't all carry riding sticks that are the thickness of our thumbs, can we?
Most of the people who started fights with me when I was a kid were smaller than me.
Yeah.
And they didn't hurt me at all, but I guarantee you I hurt them back. Anyway.
Here's my take on that. If you're going to have gender role expectations for your man, that's a personal choice. Emily Austin has high expectations of her man. He has to be working hard. He should be successful. He should, pay attention to how I feel. Like, there should be certain gender roles. He has to provide for the family, not solely, but he should be providing for his family. These are gender roles. As a woman, I learned how to cook. I know how to clean. My grandmother always tells me, my mother tells me, Emily, you're going to be a good wife. You're going to be loyal. You're going to be supportive. You're going to act like a lady. Now, there's many women who don't want to play into the gender roles, which is fine. But then don't expect your man to go out and become masculine. I think it's equal. Like, set the expectation and then.
No, I don't like that at all. No. Don't expect your man to be masculine. That line right there.
You're gonna marry a pussy if that's.
Yeah. And I get what she's saying. If you're not willing to do the gender role, then you shouldn't expect him to do the gender role. But even if you have as most families do these days, a 2-income household, you both got to go work and all that. There's still differences between men and women. That just naturally, like, there was a video or a tweet, some woman posting her L's thing, where she said, my man wanted to hang up my TV for me, and I told him, no, I'll do it myself. And now here I am with a bunch of holes in my wall, and I don't know how to tell him I need his help. Just let the man do that shit in the first place. That's the gender role. You hang shit, you build shit, you needlessly walk around scratching. We still have our roles. And it's just the way she said it. Don't expect them to be women expect your men to be masculine.
Yeah.
Even as you're emasculating them, for fuck's sake.
And date people who meet your expectation. But in terms of covert feminism, is first of all, it's such a silly term.
No, it's
Either
not.
you support women or you don't. And I'm not.
No, I don't support women, but I don't support men either, Jack.
Yeah, I mean that really is probably the best way to do it. It's just to be like, look, I don't want to deal with any of you people.
That line she just gave, that's your covert feminism. Either you support women or you don't. Support them with what?
Like, are you gonna? Well, yeah. What does that mean? That's such a nebulous phrasing.
Yeah, it's feminist bullshit is what it is. Support women. Oh, no. I can barely support myself standing up. What are you talking about? That's such a nonsensical phrase, and it's just feminist bullshit that's been preached into our heads for the last 60 years. She just pulled the same thing that the transes in the middle just pulled a little while ago. Where it's like, you either support this or you don't. No. That's not how things are. All right. Anyway.
I'm not talking about the trans argument right now.
Not only is it not a silly term, it is true that most of the political pundit women on the right are covert feminists. And I'll just ask you the same exact question I asked
Because the
Tommy.
word feminism
Hang on, let me finish. Let me finish.
No. Because she tried to just redefine feminism a minute ago, guys, where she goes, it means woke. That's what we call woke now all comes from feminism. It comes from third wave feminism. First wave feminism is the right to vote. Second wave feminism is more about like freedom for women to make their own choices.
Yeah, things and getting rid of some of the grotesque things that men were doing in the workplace, like grabbing asses and
and a lot of the second wave feminism is on college campuses where they have things like curfews for women and none for men. Paglia talked about that. So these ones had things. And third wave comes along and they have no more rights to fight for, so they just start fighting for everything.
Yeah, superiority.
Question. Let me finish the question. No, I'm talking about all the way back to first wave feminism. Okay, you are feminists, and I'll explain by asking you the same question. If it is men's duty in society to procure, refine, protect resources, which then women and children are the primary beneficiaries of, which they are, what societal duty which is equal to that do women have? What is it?
Women, we're going to have children. Men will never understand the burden of carrying a child.
So you have a duty to reproduce?
I expect women to be able to cook and clean.
Wait, so women have a duty to reproduce?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So that's
Absolutely,
the one duty that's on par. Great. So that's one duty that's on par with that. I totally agree. Are they? Or is it the case that in every single nation in the West, we are under reproductive rates in every single one of them, in every single nation?
Did she just say she assumes women are having kids? There's statistics, dummy. You can look it up. Are most of them? Yes. Is it the same number that used to? No, it's dropped drastically.
In the West, we are lower than where we need to be for reproduction. So it seems that men are fulfilling their social duty and women are not. And the problem with the right is that the right doesn't ever address this, and right-wing females never address this. Instead, they say it's equal. Work and motherhood are equal. They're not equal. Not only are they not equal, but let me give you another example here.
Well, they're not equal because men and women aren't the same, homie. You're actually, whether you're meaning to or not, or maybe you're just trying to make a point, you're kind of making the feminist argument, bro. The reason it's not the same duties is because men and women are different. I don't know what to tell you about that. You seem upset about it, but am I breaking new ground for you?
As you dive into this, try to understand that
this happens a lot in the equality arguments, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, I do this. Why don't you do that? Like, because you're different people.
What? Wait, other people are real?
You can't just look at two things and go, there should be exactly the same effort put in, or no, we're different. All right.
You do is you actually hamstring women. by telling women they should go and be girl boss babes and go to college starting in their 20s. They actually destroyed their prime reproductive years. They destroy them by having families later. It's the primary
Okay, that's
cause.
silly. I'm 23.
Hang on, listen.
I'm not
It's
having
the
a kid anytime
primary
soon.
cause
My
for the
kids will be just fine.
reproduction crisis.
Never take the chance that you're going to get a blue gumball.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a point. If women want to go to college, that's fine. And it's not even the going to college part that's the problem, because if you're going for a 4-year degree, you're out at 22, Jack. 23 tops, unless you're in Harvard and you got to take all those remedial classes and you're out at 40. But if they had their kids right after that, that would be one thing. The problem is we've got this idea in America, like we have to be established before we have kids. If you wait until it's the right time to have kids, chances are you're not going to have kids. I thought she was 40. That's because she doesn't eat enough, and being hyper skinny will make you look old.
Or sexy.
Sure.
Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato. I really hate this guy. He keeps asking question after question, speaking over and not letting her answer. Even if her answers are dumb, let her speak. Such a Destiny way of arguing. Douchebag behavior. Yeah, see, that's why I don't like him. He does make good points, but he has a terrible arguing style.
Yeah, that chick's only 23. That is...
she's a little rough looking for 23, but she's got a cute face. It's just she looks a little thick downstairs.
That chick is malnourished, man.
Yeah, so she's cute.
It's the primary cause of the reproduction crisis in the West is that with women defer families till they're in their 30s. Why do you think the average age of marriage is 32 in the United States? I think it just got raised to 33. Yes, you're going to have way less kids. Okay, part of girl bossing is when you say career women are right on par with mothers. They're not, and society should be glorifying one, not socially shaming the other, but you shouldn't give them the same elevation you give to mothers and matrons of families. That is pure covert feminism.
Okay, I'm going to answer you with...
I can't disagree with what he just said there.
Yeah,
that part.
Yeah. I do agree. Motherhood is way more important than girl bossing. Because, first of all, girl bossing, come on. Nobody really respects that. I mean,
well, you can do both. We've so catered to women that they get time off for stuff, and it's not like they're chained in the house anymore for that. If they can be a stay-at-home mom, great, but a lot of people have to work, and tons of families still make that work.
Yeah, it's a lot harder now because they've pretty much set up the working environment that most parents, most families have to have both parents working, and it shouldn't be like that.
Oh, I would think it would be great if women actually had the choice to stay home.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah. Thank you, feminism.
The following. I don't believe in the glorification, and especially I see it amongst Gen Zers, of not having children. I actually think it's disgraceful, and I don't think it's a flex at all to brag about not wanting to repopulate. It just shows me that you're so insecure that you're going to be a bad parent that you're not doing it.
That's a bit reductive. It's more that they're stupid. Because they're not doing it because they think they're going to be a bad parent. They're doing it, one, it helps them live out their Peter Pan fantasy of being a child forever without real responsibility. But two, they've been told things like the planet's overpopulated. You're just bringing them into a horrible world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get what you're trying for there. It's kind of like me making jokes about Andrew taking it in the butt from his wife. I have no evidence of that.
It's a joke. That's why. You don't need evidence to be funny.
I'm not entirely joking. I'm pretty sure she pegs him.
Well, look, it could be a joke and accurate accidentally.
On the other hand, I'll ask you a question in return. Would you prefer a child growing up in a damaged family with a mother who clearly wasn't ready to raise a child and raise potentially what could be a deranged child who grows up to be a serial killer or a murderer, or how about this, just a really...
You know that can happen even if you're the most ready you've ever been for a child, right?
Yeah, there are people out there that had perfectly good childhoods that turned into psychopaths.
Yeah.
That sometimes they're just born with bad wiring.
I remember watching this one 48 Hours episode about this guy who killed his parents, brutally killed his parents, because they thought he was in college and he'd been faking it all along. And it came time for him to be graduating. And instead of just telling them that he had dropped out a long time ago and hadn't done shit with the last 4 years, he murdered them both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was from a well-to-do family.
Yeah. Some people are just evil. Like, we need to get back to that core concept of there are just bad people out there. We don't need to understand them. We just have to accept that they're bad, and we don't want them in society.
Waiting for the right time so that you can raise the perfect kid, there's nothing to that. This is a nonsensical argument. All right, let's see what Andrew has to say about that.
Bad person, rather than wait a few more years until she's ready to have her kid and then raise a mensch. What do you prefer?
Well,
you do know that back in the day and over in England still, women were having kids at like 16, right? That's when the family was starting and they managed. What is it about modern people with so much more access to information makes them dumber at raising kids?
Because they get lazy and only look at like the top page of results, so they never actually do any in-depth critical analysis. It's all surface level. Everything these days is surface level. People are lazy, man.
It's just an excuse because she has no good answer for why she's 23, clearly well enough off to afford children and not doing it other than her own goddamn vanity.
Yeah. Look, I will gladly bang this chick out if it helps society.
See, I was doing it right. I was out here repopulating when I was in high school.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that used to be the time these things happened.
Okay, I probably should have waited at least a couple of years, but I'm not regretful about it.
You're a go-getter. What can we say?
I am. I'm a self-starter, Jack.
Yeah.
So here's what we can see when we break this down. What we see when we break this down is the abuse happens in the public school.
Oh, hang on 1 second. Thank you, Dangerous. Women over 35 have what is known as a geriatric pregnancy. That doesn't sound like a positive thing. Also, 23, are you serious? She's got some city miles on her, don't she? Yeah. Bitch needs to eat more. And cut down on the contouring makeup that she's trying to pull off.
I have protein shake for her.
Nah, she needs real food, man.
I'll take her out for a hamburger when we're done.
Oh, fair enough.
100 times more likely to be as...
I was 22 when I had my first child. I was 22 when I had my last child, bro.
I was 22.
Shout out to the lonely folks out there. That was mean. I'm sorry. I used to do that to Scribbles. I'm sorry, my friend.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's not nice. I should say my wife had a child. Hey, do not down yourself like that. You gave birth to millions of potential children. She just had to push out one. She doesn't know what we go through.
Yeah, she doesn't understand how painful it is when you don't climax.
That you men, we got to stop with this thinking that childbirth is so bad when we deal with so much more.
Yeah,
millions.
There's genocide in our scrotums every day.
Millions of children pass through our wieners, and we don't complain about it at all, ever.
Well, look, we suffer in silence.
Yes.
Women complain.
Yes, we do that for you ladies. We
Yeah,
don't even
ladies,
really want to.
If you love your man, you really should help him relieve the pressure that he has to burden himself with all the time.
And yes, make whatever little bit you can do.
Yeah, whether it's just oral or, laying there for a few minutes, whatever. You know, just do it for your man. Show him you love him.
Charles says at 30, half of her eggs are no longer viable. Yeah, that's the gumball machine effect that we refer to around here. Women are born with a set number of eggs. They don't regrow them. It's not like sperm, which is produced constantly. When they're gone, they're gone. They don't get no more.
Yeah, you ever bought a gumball from a vending machine that hadn't been used in a long time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like, wow, there's mold on that. Who knew?
If she's about 40, you got to slap her on the hip if she's trying to get pregnant, try to knock one of them things loose. The one that's stuck at the top on the glass, you know? Yeah. And that one is going to smell funny. Just saying.
Yeah.
This down as the abuse happens.
Seriously, one of the funniest things I ever saw. Somebody actually tried to scientifically prove that how do I put this? The retarded children that are born so often to 40-year-olds, it's actually because of men.
No.
Yeah. No, it's the eggs at the back of the shelf that you forgot were there.
Yeah, that's why they smell like poop, because they were near the back.
All right.
Happens in the public school, where you're 100 times more likely to be essayed than you are if you're in a Catholic church. We see that if it is the case that you're a single mother, you are a single mother, especially by choice, that is...
Did I miss something? How did we get on to getting raped in school versus raped in Catholic church?
I don't know. They just sort of drifted off topic here. They're supposed to be talking about even the trans person's bored, and that feminist lady's like, what the fuck just happened? And Piers is like, I regret not being in more movies and drag.
Oh my God. All right. By the way, if your parents were over 40 when you were born, I was not talking about you. I was talking about all the other retarded people.
All the other retarded people.
It's usually the selection of stepfather that leads to the abuse of the children. We also can see via the stats that you're completely just insane here. You are actually, if you stay inside of a family where mom and dad don't even like each other, your outcomes are still better than if you, the girl boss, goes, I just don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel fulfilled, and so I need to go and date the neighbor down the road or whatever, right? The truth is that regardless of your fulfillment...
Can I just say, I love the feminist here. She is just stoically judging the shit out of him.
Yeah. Yeah, like, she may even be agreeing with some of him, so... I don't know.
The other two are losing their shit like, oh my God. And she's just like, this motherfucker. I'll probably disagree with whatever she says, but I appreciate her stare right there. That is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I accidentally put my foot on the couch at the wrong house.
Right.
Know?
Children are the duty. The next generation is the duty, and women have a duty to keep the family intact as well. They're responsible for most of the divorces. They file for the most amount of divorces, not because of abuse, but because of irreconcilable differences. And when asked, I don't feel fulfilled. And it's like...
Although we talked about this the other day, Jack. When divorces used to happen, men got the children and were responsible for raising them at that point.
Yeah.
It is better to have the man and woman there, and women can give comfort and stuff that we're just not associated with because we're men. But it can be done, and it was done that way for a long time in history.
Yeah.
That's not how we run a society. It's literally a death sentence for our whole society. Look at what's going on in the UK. It's a death sentence for them.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Okay, let me bring in Stasia, who's been grimacing throughout that. Stasia, why are you so outraged by what he's saying?
I'm not outraged. I just think that you all are fairly stupid.
Insults are funny. Ha ha ha. Why address the argument?
Yeah, why provide any actual commentary on it? Look, I called them both stupid, but I told you why.
Yeah, but that wasn't your entire argument wasn't just like, oh, you guys are dummy heads.
Yeah, because you can't argue that way. That's not an argument.
Yeah.
That's colorful commentary to go with your argument. Like, my argument against Andrew isn't that he gets pegged. That's just something that happens also. Allegedly. And she wasn't grimacing at all. She was or he was giggling and rolling his eyes like he was a chick. That's what girls do, right? Our British lady here, that's who I want to hear from. I want to hear that look, man. I feel like I didn't curtsy at the Queen properly.
Yeah. Like, I at least respect the fact that she was quiet and was listening.
Yeah.
And not making ridiculous faces every time Andrew said something. It
Mhm.
actually looked like she was paying attention, not just like doing a shitty reaction video.
Yeah, the other two, I mean, you can tell the difference in age between the three in the middle there.
Yeah, in the decorum level.
What's this thing's name? Astasia? What the fuck kind of name is that?
I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like, if you're gonna transition into being a woman, get a normal fucking name. Like, how many of them are named like, June or Jennifer or
None.
Stacy? You almost never hear that. It's always like, I am Mary Belle Marbeline. What? What the fuck? What are you doing?
You're right. There's some of them that are like cliche. It's amazing how many of them are named Destiny.
Yeah, why would you pick a stripper name? Like, were you at the club and like, I'm taking that name, Alexis Goldfinger's Superstar? Yeah,
because it's a sexual fetish.
A lot of it. I think the majority of people that are labeled trans now are fetishists.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially ones that'll outright tell you they don't actually have dysphoria.
Yeah. If you don't have dysphoria, you are not trans. Okay, I'm sorry. You're not trapped in the wrong body.
All right, we'll watch a little more of this, and then I'm going to shut it down because I need to pee.
Oh, yeah.
And everything that's being said is ridiculous. And it's just like a comedy show.
You
being
think you
played
can
out by
change your sex? How can you ever call anybody stupid? How can you ever call anybody stupid?
Yeah,
You
she
think
should
you
sit
can
that
change-
one.
Yeah, he's got a point.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, he occasionally makes a good point.
I knew that part was coming because it was in the opening that we skipped. Piers highlighted that part. But yeah, you're calling other people stupid. And the only reason he said that is because the Holocaust victim there said that she was a moron earlier.
Yeah, look at blonde girl's face right there. That whoa. That I get that look a lot.
One out.
Hey, I'm just sitting back watching the shit show happen. I'm here for it.
But
All right,
How is that
Julie,
possible?
You started the shit
you were
show,
not.
honey.
Well, hang on. I want to get Julie to respond to
What
Andrew.
a stupid little snide remark. You started the shit show, honey. No, actually, Piers just did.
Yeah, I blame Piers for all this. He's the worst woman on this panel.
All right, and on that note, we're going to wrap this up for urination purposes.
Oh
my God, that was fun.
That was.
Yeah. But God bless. Andrew, you could be a better person. Stop hating women. I know your mom took your temperature anally for way too long and your wife still does it, but come on, man.
I think if he had some more formal debate training and kind of stuck with that instead of the Gish Gallop nonsense, he would probably be more effective.
He wouldn't, though, because that kind of stuff doesn't do well.
I suppose. I just think there's some. If he changed his approach, he would probably have a lot more success. But
the one thing I will say about Andrew, and I'm just giving him the credit he deserves here, what he's done has worked for him.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of that style.
Yeah. Well, it worked for Destiny for a long time, too. And, I mean, look how that ended up.
Yeah. But see, Destiny even moved away from that shit to where he was having more substantial debates. And that was when he was doing really well. And then he lost his fucking mind because of Trump.
Yeah. Man, Trump has a way of just fucking with people. Like, I don't know what it is about that man, but he just shows up and people lose their goddamn minds.
All right. And with that, we're going to wrap up. Sorry. I'm apparently going to bed after this. I'm gonna pee first. I'm not
I
gonna pull a
hope so.
Charlie. Am I peeing? I love that. Am I
This
peeing?
is a dream. Am I really peeing the bed?
Guys, thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you for listening to us for so long and just being you, because you're awesome and we appreciate it. Thank you for the donations. You guys are amazing. And that you make your money, our money, it will never be lost on us how much that means. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Jack, anything you want to chill out?
No, but I want to thank everybody for the donations, and I want to apologize again to Evil One for not seeing the Cash App come through, because I didn't hear it chime, and I had the phone kind of out of the way, and I wasn't watching chat, because I know he probably told me in chat. So I'm really sorry, because it was like 20 minutes that I missed it. So real sorry about that. But thank you guys so much for all the support you give us. You guys are awesome. There's just no way around it. We can't thank you guys enough for coming out and watching the show.
How does Trump make people lose their minds? You're a wizard, Donald. Yeah, it's really not that complicated. It's just that I think, especially with Destiny, what it was with that, it's not even the January 6th stuff. It's he thought they beat Trump and believed in the bullshit of the election and how much things had changed. And it was very clear when Trump came back in 2024 there that at best the Biden election was a one-off, if we're being very charitable. And the other answer is none of those ideas were as popular as they were led to believe, and there was cheating going on. Those are the only two real options. And
well, their policies were pretty bad for the average person.
Oh yeah.
So it made people nostalgic for Trump, and he has just this kind of personality that he doesn't give a shit what other people think about him.
And on the left, it's amazing because there was a new report came out saying that Kamala was shocked she lost. Yeah. Kamala was shocked she lost, which I don't on election night, she was shocked she lost. Not she saw it coming. She was gobsmacked when the results were coming in, and that's why she didn't have her rally. Well, she had a rally. The poor bastards didn't get to see her. When did that shit start?
I don't know.
Anyway, the left has deluded themselves into believing that everybody thinks like them, and that if you don't think like them, you're just some stupid rube, and there's only a few of those out there, so they could outvote them anyway. And when reality came crashing down on them, it broke a lot of them. It's why we don't see the kind of protests and stuff we saw after the first election, Jack. Because you still have to be somewhat functional to go outside. They're just fucking broken.
Yeah, but broken people like that you see on the left, like the brainwashed ones, they tend to echo chamber a lot.
Yeah.
Just because they can't handle differing opinions. It's usually ego or something like that, but there's always a reason they can't handle that outside opinion that disagrees with them, so they cloister. And I think that's a very dangerous thing to do in any society. You want to be able to listen to what other people are saying so you can analyze whether you're right or not.
Or if nothing else, just so you don't get blindsided.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how many people got kind of caught off guard by the riots in 2020. Like, not the first couple, but the later ones were like, they're doing this again?
Yeah. All right. With that, Jack, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
I would keep going, but I really do need to pee and probably sleep. So I'm just going to keep telling you I need to pee.
We like to share here.
Dude, I was watching a Moist Critical video the other day. He was doing a live stream playing Schedule 1. And in the middle of it, he goes, all right, I'll be right back. I got to take a shit. I was like, I don't even like when people do that, just around me. When people like, I don't mind if you go, I got to go pee or something, that's fine. But please don't tell me when you have to drop a deuce. I don't need to know.
What? How do you want that phrased then? Like, I have an errand to run?
Yes, that's fine.
I need to use the necessary, like it's 1850.
I'll be right back is plenty.
Okay.
That's more information than I needed even.
Now, if I tell you I'm going to be right back, I'm just going to wander around your house for a few minutes. You're like, what's in here?
Guys, thanks for
Hide
coming
the
and joining
crawl
us.
space.
We love you. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
I really have to pee, so I'm gonna go and pee. I need to pee. How come there's not a book, Everybody Pees?
Nobody wants to touch that book. It might be moist.
But there's a book called Everybody Poops.
Yeah, because poop is funnier. Pee
I
is
guess.
icky.
Bye, guys.